Out there in podcast land, welcome to Beer League in the Get Off My Lawn studios here. But I just want to clarify something here. Everyone's like, hey, Beer League, right? What is Beer League? And you have to do with youth sports. It's a youth sports podcast here. And people go, hey, beer? Youth sports? Bottom line is, I want to clarify this for everybody out there. It all ends up in Beer League. Doesn't matter where you play right now or how you playing. You play, travel hockey, you're in Beer League hockey. After you play, you travel baseball, you're in Beer League softball. You're in basketball league, you playing pickup Beer League basketball. And now, maybe some lacrosse, a youth lacrosse league, and they have a Beer League lacrosse. The buddies going to hang out and have a couple pops then, huh?
Man, that sounds wild.
Well, hey, Greg, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man.
Hey, thanks, man.
I gotta tell you, hockey ended. Middle school hockey wrapped up.
Oh, how'd it go?
It was, we made the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Ensworth was doing well, as a matter of fact, and Wilson County. But that was over, and hockey is a long, long season, right? Hockey is
too long.
August to March. And then you've got middle school. It goes to May. It goes to May 15th, May 10th. And last weekend was the first weekend with no sports. There was no soccer. There was no hockey.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. We didn't know what to do with all the free time, money just everywhere. It was crazy, man. It was ridiculous.
You're like looking around each other. What do you want to do now?
I got bored for the first time in 3 years. Of course, I'm screwing it up because we just got on the wait list for indoor soccer, and we got activated. So we're going to be playing indoor soccer soon. So
is it air conditioned?
I think so. I believe it is.
I hope so, because it's really hot out now. It's gotten hot out here.
It is.
It was supposed to be like 90s again today and tomorrow, and that's it.
It's over, man.
There's no spring. It's just hot.
No, we had a great spring. This is the best spring we've ever had in Middle Tennessee.
It didn't rain at all. There was a lot of no rainouts in baseball this year. That's for sure.
That's the thing about baseball. Sometimes you don't have to go.
Yeah,
right?
no.
Sometimes you luck out. That doesn't happen with hockey.
No, you can't. Well, the only way is Zamboni can mess up and not do the ice yet. So. But anyway,
that doesn't happen.
How's everything else going with you, though? You doing okay?
It's great, man. We're just rocking and rolling. The podcast is going to the Wish Cup coming up here.
Wish Cup's going to have a fun time out there. We're going to say hi to everybody and some of these TikTokers and MD Media and all these other guys with Colby, and we're going to be out there. We're going to probably do some live streams, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll be roaming around the crowd. We'll be checking out
We're selling merch, too, aren't we?
That's right.
We're selling merch. We got a tent. We got to keep the UV rays off of us, too. It's getting a lot hot.
It's going to be hot. I hope it's not too hot out there.
We can go inside, though, a little bit, too.
Yeah.
Got some
go in there to the rink. That'll be nice.
Nice. Well, I got to say, I mean, we had a very entertaining week, too, over here. We didn't have full baseball, but we had a baseball party for the end of the year. I had about 100 people in my backyard. And,
oh, wow.
It was a lot of people. Kids everywhere. It was a great time. And I got to say, I was never more blessed and with the gifts that they gave me at the end of the year.
Oh.
It was just, I'm just taken back and so grateful of everybody that did that. And again, out there, thank you guys so much for parents and the kids. And it was just such a fun year, fun time that I didn't expect to be coaching, and I did, and I want to thank everybody for that. It was absolutely awesome and just so much fun. And actually, today is, we had a guest, Matt Welker, on the show, and he's in the championships in baseball right now. Him and another guest, too, Mr. Hauser. They're in the championships as we speak right now. Shout out to you guys. Good luck, boys. We'll count on you. But anyway, let's get back to where we are right now. Well, we have a really special guest here, Greg. And we have this gentleman here. His name is Joel White. Everybody, let's get some claps. Can we get some claps?
Yeah, I mean, welcome to Beer League.
Welcome, Joel. Welcome to Beer League. Now, Joel is a tremendous a lacrosse man. He played college lacrosse at Syracuse. Syracuse, right? There you go.
Yeah, you got it.
And he was from Cortland, New York, not Long Island. It's okay. We don't hold it against him. He's Cortland, good area.
Technically, this is a New York episode.
And he did tell me earlier he did move to Manhattan. So, you know what? We're going to enjoy this episode, that's for sure. Yeah, so, hey, Joel, how you doing? Welcome to the show, bud.
Doing well. Appreciate you guys having me. Excited to be here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming and enjoying to hear what you have done so far in the lacrosse world. I mean,
well,
listen,
I'm gonna give an intro here.
Go.
We could spend an hour just on his accomplishments, but Joel White soared to lacrosse stardom at Syracuse University as a 3-time All-American.
I get the claps
The
again.
first long stick. Oh, it goes on.
He's
the first long stick midfielder to win the nation's top midfielder award. Which I can't say that word.
Well, I'm gonna stop you there 1 second. My buddy Jay, shout out to you. We'll talk about you later too. He did know you, and he didn't know you, but he knows of you, and he goes, "Yeah, long stick." And I'm like, "Really?" So you got some.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, there you go.
Big things with the long stick. 2-time national champion at Syracuse. Had a 14-year professional career spanning the Major League Lacrosse, the National Lacrosse League, and the Premier Lacrosse League when they came around. Earning all-star honors and ranking among the pro game's all-time leaders in ground balls. Joel also shined on the international stage, including winning a world championship gold medal with Team USA, and now he's the director of Mad Dog Lacrosse in Nashville, where he's using his elite experience to help grow the game in a fast-emerging lacrosse market. But when we say elite, this is legit. This is real elite.
He's not just saying elite to get some money. He's real elite, that's for sure. That's for sure. Wow, that is some resume. Holy cow, man.
Just I think it just means you're old, right?
Yeah, well,
that's kind of how it works.
The book gets thicker and thicker, more chapters on your book, that's for sure. But wow, Joel, that is outstanding stuff to see that and to know your background here. Now, Joel, can you basically introduce yourself and how you started basically becoming a lacrosse player? When did you fall in love with the game of lacrosse? When did you start? How you got there and through this and to where you are right now in Nashville, Tennessee?
Yeah, so definitely started prior to Syracuse, much prior to Syracuse. But it's especially for this podcast, you talk about specialization and stuff like that. Is I played every sport under the sun, right? And so did that growing up. I was a late bloomer, if you will, for upstate New York in terms of picking up the lacrosse stick, and so I picked it up middle school age and fell in love with it right away. One of the things I love about it is similar to some of the other sports, but just a little bit different, like shooting hoops, right? In basketball, so picked it up, and you can play wall ball, do things by yourself, and that you can kind of reap the benefits of those yourself. As you as I tell our players all the time, is like do it when no one's watching. And I think that's any sport, but I just kind of loved throwing and catching with the stick, and was an active kid, so got outside and did that a bunch.
Now, no one else told you to do that. You just started falling in love. That's what we always say. You will tell your parents what you want to do without them telling you. And so obviously you're out there just whipping around with the fiddlesticks, right? The first one was the fiddlestick.
That's
right. A small one.
Yeah. Start small, and they continue to grow. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing that for everything. So it really just one of those things where if it was pick up a basketball and go out and shoot. So just enjoyed doing it. So it's just kind of the type of kid I was. Continued to grow up. I played travel soccer when I was growing up, and thought I was going to go play in England or something like that. And then fast forward, you just kind of get older, and more things come around, and started to grow a love for the sport, and really enjoyed the kids I played with, and I had some really, really good mentors and coaches growing up across all sports. I gravitated to one in high school, and kind of that helped me, motivated me, kind of took me on the side, and helped grow my skills and just help off the field. And so that was great for me, and that's kind of where I started. I had a great mentor.
Did they have skills coaches back then too? Like, how they are now. There's like a specific skills coach. I mean, you were the skills coach then. It's like when you were a kid growing up into trying to get to that spotlight, and you go, now it's like, hey, let's just spend money on a skating coach, or let's just spend money on a hitting coach, or a catching coach, or a pitching coach, or a tight end coach, or a quarterbacks coach. But back then, we never had that ability.
This was, like I said, I would say I was very fortunate, because I had a guy that had time, wanted to invest in me, and we just got on the field and kind of just played. Cool. So he did. Obviously, there's pointers in terms of getting your hands free and fall towards a net when you're shooting, just little things. But it never was as technical as you can certainly get now and all of that stuff. And, lacrosse is no different. I mean, the more you look at stuff is how technical can we get, how much film can we watch, all that stuff. But, I think the biggest thing is really just getting out there, and that's step one. And then you can, take it to new heights with all that other stuff. So yes, he was out there with me, but not super technical. It was just more of talking about the game and just going through reps, and that's really just pucks on net, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what made you what made you really fall in love with the game of lacrosse? I mean, you sit there, like you said, you're upstate New York, and hockey you watched a little bit, not much, and lacrosse, you played soccer. You think it would be lacrosse is I always say it's a mixture of soccer and hockey. Because you're constantly running, obviously, and the game itself is played like hockey. So, and even soccer's played like hockey too. It's just all the techniques. So, what made you fall in love with the game? Was it hitting, scoring, or
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think it's the mesh of all sports, right? I was a soccer, basketball, lacrosse person growing up. I played a little baseball, played a little hockey in the street, stuff like that. So, it was just a mixture of everything. And so, it like when I think about it, like. In terms of when I look at the game, I think that really helped me I use a step over in soccer is the same foot movement as I do as I would in a split dodge in lacrosse. A crossover is the same thing as switching your hands in lacrosse. So everything that when I think about it is like it's every sport put together, and I think that was like what kind of grew, and and then again I was fortunate. I had an athletic ability, and I wasn't the best stick handler when I was going through, but I think I was just able to put a lot of things together and work really hard and have some athleticism in it. So I think that the thing that I always tell kids about the game is you can be 5'4" or you can be 6'4" and still be a damn good lacrosse player, right? So Mikey Powell is one of the best lacrosse players to ever do it, and he's 5'8". I'm sure he'd yell at me for that, but he's
stretched.
But yeah, he's just that's someone that I look at. Yet now, did he do unbelievable things with his feet? Absolutely, right? So I think there's always nuance to it, but it is cool about the sport is if you're an unbelievable stick handler, but you can't move too fast, you're still going to find a spot on the field.
Yeah. What age did you say you just started at middle school, right? And what age did you go, yeah, I got something here? Or someone said to you, hey, you got something special here.
Yeah, I mean, again, very, very different world. But I played for a few years. I was, going to probably like 10th grade, went to one of these recruiting tournaments that there's a billion of now. I was fortunate. And then just started getting some letters from coaches. And, I think it's just like anything is it's cool to be recruited. It's cool to be wanted, and that drew a real fire. And I was getting some of that on the soccer side of things. But again, I just think I really gravitated towards the being a multi-sport guy. I just gravitated. Hey, this is a clump of all these sports, and so really did just fall in love with the game and just found myself anytime I was bored, I had a stick in my hand, and anytime I wanted to do something, I'd have a stick in my hand. And as the story goes on, it's an interesting world out there when you get in lacrosse, and I was
it's a small world too, like you said.
It's a small world. I had a couple opportunities going through. For whatever reason, I grew up 30 minutes south of Syracuse. When that call came, it kind of was drop everything and see and explore this. I think too, my mom, we're sitting there talking, and I had a couple scholarship opportunities for other schools. No scholarship opportunity for Syracuse.
Oh,
and,
boy.
So that was a conversation, and testament to my mom. She was grew up, in a single. My parents were split up. They were both around, but my mom was the main caregiver, and we're sitting there, and she's kind of like, "Yeah, you can do it." And now, as a parent looking back,
I'm like,
"Oh
my
man,
God,
that must have been a little tough." Is to give me an opportunity when there was, opportunity to not.
With
have
some of the scholarships that you had, where were they, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I had a number of them. Very different, but I was Army was a big one that I really liked. I enjoyed the coach. It was kind of my mentality. So that was a big one that I was looking to go to. Now that's not a scholarship. That was just probably my number two. Cornell was a top at the top of the list. And then there was like a Towson, UMBC were high on my list. Rutgers was around for a while.
Okay.
You know, it's funny is I was from a small town, so I was the tournaments I played were in Maryland. So it was a lot of the Maryland schools. But you know, you talk about some of the bigger schools, like Syracuse was the biggest one. You know, at the time, I remember my dad and I actually went down to Duke in North Carolina and just see the campus. We were just taking a trip, and we're walking around campus, and we find the door and knock on the coach's door, and you know, it was cool. They were very nice, right? It's like they came out, like they found a player or something to walk us around for a little bit, and you know, and it never was like if one of those were around, like man, that
they
would
had
awesome.
no idea who they were talking
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Well, things are different now, obviously, and we've got some questions that the fans have asked us to ask you about recruiting. But back then, what did you do to try to get the coach's attention? You said you got a letter. Like, were you sending them letters? Did they reach out to you? Like, what was your process sophomore, junior year? Because I think lacrosse has gotten a little fire for starting to recruit people at 9th grade and 10th grade, and they're trying to slow that down a little bit. What was it in your situation?
Yeah. So again, different. It was later then. So for me, mine was they had these. So at the time, everyone, and they probably still do this to an extent. But they were just, if you were on a radar, you'd get this letter in the mail, and now it's probably an email and a form online. But you'd get a letter, and it was just an interest form. So it was like, are you interested in our school? And then it you know, they kind of connect the dots, and then they're able to see where you are. So my thing with that is, if I got an interest form and I was truly interested, you know, I sent them all back, of course, and you know, and then I would reach out and send an email or and just kind of just introduce myself and see and tell them where I was gonna be playing. Recruiting tournaments were few and far between, so it was a little bit easier at that time to kind of navigate, you know, where coaches were going to be. That travel ball was, I mean, a sliver of what it is now. So there's, you know, and a sliver of the amount of tournaments. So much easier on the coaches for sure in terms of like athletes and in one spot. So played a couple of recruiting tournaments, and believe it or not, at that time, college coaches were coming to games, so they were still coming to high school games. So, you know, there was times where coaches would come down and you know, be in the stands at our high school games. Now, listen, it was usually when Cortland was playing, maybe a Syracuse school where there was, you know, some other recruits. But you know, it's great. Like I remember a couple of my teammates, because the Towson coach came, like we all kind of went down on what they used to call like junior day. So we went down and just kind of, it's kind of like you come on campus, you pay your own way, and it was able to recruit junior year as opposed to like your wait until your official visit in your senior year. So, yeah, it was a lot of like just back and forth with email, because at the time, I mean, obviously not text messages and all that stuff was like new. And they certainly weren't coaches. Like coaches player relationship wasn't what it is now. In terms of like social media or even just texting back and forth. So a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, the reality is when you go through this process, it's different for everybody. It's just you know, you try to get out of your comfort zone a little bit in terms of, you know, reaching out to people that is a little intimidating, you know, as a 16, 17, 18-year-old. Yeah.
Well, I figured, I mean, like, all right, so you're in Cortland. You got a Cortland College, maybe you just wanted to get away from all Long Islanders. Let's be honest, because all Long Islanders go up to Cortland, and
it's hard to do.
It is hard to do.
They follow
up there.
you around.
They go all over.
They're all.
But
over.
It's funny, like you just said. You know, they recruited at 9th grade. I had a friend of mine's, his kid was recruited by Notre Dame for lacrosse in 10th grade. He gave him a verbal in 10th grade for Notre Dame to be out in Long Island, and he ended up his 12th, senior year, graduating in January. And he ended up becoming the quarterback of Wisconsin. But by the end of his college career, he ended up becoming the starting quarterback of Notre Dame. So, yeah, and his uncle was at Beta House in Cortland.
There we go.
He was a Beta in Cortland. So I'm sure you probably know the street over there, where they always say it's like Animal House.
That's right. That's right.
Animal House, that.
And then they all roll down to Dark Horse.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, the Dark Horse, because in Beta, they're all the jocks, and my other good friend was the president of Beta, and his brother was the bouncer at the Dark Horse. little long stories. That's why I wanted to bring up little Cortland there, going up there, visiting him. Now, there was two townies. You may not know them. Who knows? You may know. They called them Lumpy and Bumpy. They really did. Lumpy and Bumpy. They had bumps and lumps all over them, and they walked around there with townies. And they're like, oh, look, there's Lumpy and Bumpy. But yeah, Lumpy and Bumpy. That's why I don't know if you knew Lumpy and Bumpy floating around there, but
I mean, maybe, but I might have just called him Phil or something. He's my boy. So
Grumpy and Humpty and Dumpty. My goodness.
But the Dark Horse was the best place to go to. Yeah, so
for sure. Still kicking, still rocking, rolling, and
great place.
Still cash only.
Exactly. And all the betas run that place. I'm sure still that's going on. So awesome, man. So all right, so you go. All right, I'm going to go to Syracuse. All right, I'm going to go to Syracuse, close to home too. I'm sure that's also kind of weighed a little bit in too. It's only 30 minutes, right? So 3 hours.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Perfect. It's still close enough to get home. Say if you're a little homesick and everything as a freshman. How did that go? How did your college career go?
Yeah, so it was definitely it was close enough, far enough away. And at the time there was probably I think there was 8 of us from upstate New York that were all on this kind of all-star team together. Which was really cool. So it was very comforting. Everyone had parents around, and so it created a cool culture that we didn't know was coming. But so we got up to Syracuse, first step on campus. Never wanted to leave. We had my guy was Stephen Brooks, who's now he's a professional coach in the PLL. Just an awesome guy, and I'd never forget him and Kenny Nims came to my roommate and best friend John Galloway, who coaches at Jacksonville University now. But we're sitting there, we're sitting in our room, we're like, okay, we're here. What do we do? And Kenny and Brooksy walk in and kind of grab us and took us under their wing, and it was a really special year. We were fortunate to go through that year, some ups and downs, which I'll kind of go through John and I's process, which was a big deal in our freshman year, but we were fortunate enough to win a national championship that year. So
as a freshman,
yeah. Right. And so, we get on campus, this happens, we're like, okay. And at the time I was, high school, I'm an offensive midfielder. And so, typically it's an up down game. So similar to like a soccer midfielder or something like that. So, you play both, expecting a lot of kids come in, especially athletic, you play short stick, defensive midfielder. So that was kind of that would have been fine. So go through fall. I actually had a shot. Me and another freshman competing for a second line midfield spot, which gets on the field. You get a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio. Awesome. I was super pumped to be in that conversation.
As a freshman.
Yeah. So especially as a they call it a preferred walk-on. So I was it was great. My job was to go there and work my butt off and work my way into a scholarship. Or I told my mom, I was like, hey, let's go test this out. If I'm not playing, we can look at other options. I get this is too expensive for us.
The portal before it was the portal.
Yeah, that's exactly. And so whether my mom's not going to make me do that, but she was like, yeah, sounds good. And so we get there freshman year. John's a freshman goalie. There's a goalie in front of him, and the backup is also a year ahead of him. So, and then I come in and kind of fighting for spots. So we're both fighting for these spots all fall, and we have a really good fall. We're really excited about it. We go home. Him and I met up. We went to campus. We worked out a bunch. So we're really excited for when we get back to campus. So we get back to campus. John, comes out firing. They end up naming him the backup secondaries in the mix. So for me, my coaches come over and they're like, hey, we had some guys get hurt. Here, we're going to give you a long stick. How's this look? So 6-foot pole is what defenders have. So still staying in the midfield, but need to use a different stick. That, funny enough, my team when I was in high school never played with this position. We had 3 close defensemen. And then this long stick. We just didn't have enough. We're a small school, and we never really did it. And so we We didn't have one.
For those out there who don't know a long stick compared to other, what is?
Yeah, it's double
describe
the
that a
size.
little
So
bit. Yeah.
offensive guys use a shorter stick. And then you double the size, so it's a 6-foot pole. More leverage. You can swing and hit guys,
Poke
and
check.
so poke check, and so that's like a slash in hockey.
Yeah, but it's loud. You're
would
loud.
would be the slash is legal as long as their hands on the stick. So a little more leverage, a little more violence on the defensive end, and it allows you to keep guys away from you a little bit. So and so
you can rip a shot with a 6-footer. Then
you
that
can
can
yeah,
really go.
for sure. Great, it's and guys
It's a
do
big catapult.
I wasn't one of them, but guys definitely got a can rip it. So but so I was an offensive midfielder too, so I was like, what are we talking about? I'm fighting for the second midfield line. Like, coach, no, I'm not doing that. And so, he kept pushing me, and John and I are sitting there. He's in a goalie battle. I'm in this like battle of mental of like, what the hell am I doing here? I could be.
And you've never played with a 6-foot stick.
I've
then?
never even touched one before.
Okay.
Like never. So it wasn't. And so like I'm like nervous, 18 years old, like, and so John and he was instrumental. He was, usually I was the calm one. He's a goalie. He's a goalie, he's my new house guy, yeah. Right? So he's super smart, unbelievable. But we chatted every night and just I talked him off the ledge. He would be like, hey, what does this look like? So fast forward, I go in, I look at coach. I'm like, hey, whatever. If this is going to help the team, let's do it. And can I get my short stick back next year? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm like, all right, cool. So then it goes through, and I end up winning the starting spot. So I started every single game my freshman year at long stick midfield, and John started every game our freshman year at goalie. And so we both kind of win those spots, and it was great. And then we get through this whole thing, and the culture of the team was unbelievable, and it was just a really cool opportunity to see kind of a team come together. The year prior, they had the first like losing record in Syracuse, like history or something crazy. I probably should know that, but I blocked it out. But we were coming in like, hey, if you guys don't turn this around, like they're gonna be,
we're all gone.
Yeah, exactly. So we're fortunate to do that. Testament to not like we had a good freshman class, but it was like those guys, Steve and Kenny, Mike Lavelle. There's just really good seniors that were like, hey, like this is what we do. We're a team. We're a unit. Let's get together. And honestly, for me, that was a start of a like view of culture and a change, because even when we were there as seniors, all committed, we would be in the locker room very different, right? And not in a bad way, just more lacrosse bro-ish, and they were having fun and all that stuff. And so we had a bunch of fun. The culture just had a shift, and it was a testament to the seniors, and we were fortunate enough to be a part of it.
Oh, nice. Not really too many Long Island kids for that culture then.
Yeah, love every one of them.
Yeah, no, I was still
love
going to
every one of them. Yeah,
gonna do that to you.
No.
All right, so that's your freshman year. You guys
Patty Parrott, baby. That was our head Long Island guy. Danny Brennan, my freshman year, and then Patty was a year younger than him. But man, they were awesome.
Yeah,
and honestly, like a huge part of like playing their part of being a guy from Long Island and like. But they were so accountable, like to holding us accountable. You need that in the culture, and so seriously, like I know we joke about it, but it was eye opening for me. Like so, like
you have no idea.
Like, guys
what
are like,
the hell is
the Pat Parrott thing, and still this day, like a friend. So we still chat.
You loved it so much, you ended up moving down there. You were right for a while. That's, that's great, man. That's good. So that's your freshman year. Keep going.
Yeah,
keep going your years now. So when does it all really?
It kind of speeds up after that. That was like instrumental. So we were fortunate enough to kind of rinse and repeat. We had a little tougher road. We ended up we played Cornell in the finals, and I'll never forget it. I think we were like the top seed, the second seed going in. So and obviously the defending champs, and so we're down like 4 or 5 goals with 3 minutes and change left. And the goal that they just scored, I think it was the 4th goal maybe, but it was on me. So like I came down and like shoved this guy, and he's falling over and like rolls it under Galloway's stick. And so I turned to my roommate, and he always says, like, I thought we were both gonna be pissed at each other, and I just turned around into him, and I just smiled and then laughed. And then as I was running, I was like, shit, like
Oops.
tough, like we're, and so you're running off, and again, the culture wise, it just came together, and we were able to kind of rally, and then we turned the ball over with 26 seconds left, down a goal, and ball's behind their net. And they go to try to clear it, and the guy I was talking about, Kenny Nims, kind of dives and knocks the ball out of his stick, puts it on the ground. Guy picks it up, come over, I knock it out of his stick. Our other buddy comes over, he picks it up, throws it behind his back. 2 passes later, it's Kenny Nims who made the first check, got up off the ground and sprinted to the crease, catches it, finishes it with like 3 seconds left to tie it, and then we won in overtime.
Wow.
So. And still,
what year was that? What
that
year?
was my sophomore year.
Okay.
So that was like our back. That was back to
What
back.
year? Like
2000. That was 2008 and 2009 were the 2 championships, and the last championship we won.
Okay.
So at Syracuse. So it's been a little bit of a drought. They actually just won to get in the Final Four.
I think I probably watched that game because it was always on Memorial Day.
That's right.
Yeah, because we always have a party at my buddy's house every year. We called it Almalaguena Day. Don't worry about it. It's there. It was every
That's right.
Memorial Day, and it was always watching it. So yeah, we watched that game.
Yeah,
So
it was a roller coaster for sure. So then that was great. We graduated a lot of people. Junior year we came in highly touted. We were a little down, but still we're having a great still had a great year. Ended up getting upset by Army in the dome at home in the first round of the playoffs. So that was like kind of a slap in the face for us. And then we came back my senior year. Had a really strong team. It was all of our, all those kids.
Is it now? You're seniors now.
Now we're seniors, and so we kind of ran through the season, and then we were in the quarterfinals, and we played Maryland. And I tell all of my Maryland friends now that they're just pricks because we were like Galloway had like the lowest goal per. Like goals per game, like it was like 7 goals a game or something like that. Our defense was really good, and our offense, hung goals.
Were you ranked 1 at that time too?
We were, yeah. That was we were ranked 1, and we played Maryland in the quarterfinals, and they held the ball. So there was like 10-minute possessions. It was pre-shot clock.
I've heard about that.
And so
That's
that
right.
game, and again, like testament, like it's like, the coach was like, you talk to we obviously joke now, but they're like, what do you mean? It was perfect game plan. Like and it was, and we were probably should have been more ready for it than we were. And just like as athletes, like our coaching staff talked about it.
Were they spinning? Were you guys just spinning? Like, what the hell are they doing? What do we do?
They were just really wide because it's
Yeah.
the thought process are you going to create offense for them, and that's what they kind of wanted because they couldn't. We had our short stick D midi guys were so good, and that's usually who you attack, and so they really couldn't get by them, and so that was just like, we're just going to see if they come out and play us, and we did, right? You came out, you got frustrated, came through, and we ended up losing 6-5 in overtime. So it was,
and back then 6 goals and 5 goals was unheard of.
I mean,
you had 15, 14 games, and there's 6.
Especially against that's why it was like this stir up of the shot clock. Coach Desko, who was my coach. He definitely led the charge after that game to like the rules committee and be like, well, like, these games are typically, and you were seeing it a lot, to be honest, and it was just boring. Like we were on ESPN, that game was on ESPN2 or whatever, or ESPN at the time, and this is a sport we're trying to grow. Yeah. And you see a guy
being too strategic, too much strategy.
It's like the what do you call it? The devils in the neutral zone trap. That bored the hell out of you too.
So, I want to go back though. Like a championship game, you had 2. What kind of different mental preparation was there for a championship game, or do you just repeat exactly what you did to get there? Is there a way that you try to keep the nerves from getting to you with 26 seconds left? Like, what's the mental side of that?
Yeah, I would say the mental prep different than the 26 seconds. I mean, the mental prep for the game, you can say all you want that it's just another game, right? And that was kind of our mentality, but that stuff does creep in. So I think you kind of build like a routine, if you will, throughout the season. And that was one thing that I wasn't good at when I first started. And that was something that I learned is just the routine to be comfortable. It's not that Galloway was the most superstitious guy. Like he had like a 30-step thing that he had to do. And if he missed one, he was like, it was insane. And everyone picked on him for it. And that's crazy to me, still is. But what I found was if you can just, it's not put your left sock on before your right or anything like that, but like I started to understand those is when I was looking around, because I just was like kind of, I'm a go out and ball type guy, and that's just like how I always was. Play for the guy next to you, and I just feel like you're the stuff you do the things you're supposed to do, and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and give it up for the guy next to you. Everything's going to work out. So that was kind of like my thing. But then I was like, okay, if I can have a little bit of process, I think I can just like make this time go faster. Because the reality is like when you get to a game and it's this in a football stadium that you've never been in before, and you're looking around, and so just finding a little bit of a process, I would say, to stick to, just to feel comfortable before the game. In the game, we got back in our ride that we ran 100, couple hundred times that whole season, and again, a guy's got to make a play. I think you got to get lucky, right? And that lucky was maybe one or two guys getting like making the play they probably shouldn't have, So it's just like you got to get a guy to make a mistake.
Right place, right time, too,
And then you got to make the play, right? Yeah. And so, but if you like watch the play, it's like it's just a bunch of guys just jumping around, and then all of a sudden the ball's in the back of the net, and so
that's what usually happens at anything too. You're like, oh, we're totally playing that, The ball's supposed to hit off that guy's head, hit the clock, come back in my stick, and I score.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Well, I wonder what the difference between a process, which we got people talking about, you need to have some regimen that you go through. When does that cross over into superstition and you get carried away? Like 30 steps. Like, what would you do? What were some
I'm like
of the
that
steps?
guy. I'm him, though.
Yeah, I mean, there was it's been a long time, but it was from the jump. Like, breakfast was the same, not the same time, but like the same thing. And it was go back to our apartment, do the same thing, and then
nap at certain times,
and then
play Halo,
get into but like his was like, and then he had like, then we get in the car, and I mean he'd be there hours before, and like I said, I'm just like, hey, let's go play, and he's got to when we get there, he reads the scouting report all the way through again, like when we first get there, and then he's got this like high school poster that he always looked at. Like it was insane. Like to the point he like wrote something on. He put tape. He wore sweats in the goal, and he put tape around his ankle.
Well, he's a goalie,
and
dude.
He'd write something on it, and so we're like, for 4 years we're trying to figure out like what this is, and we were always like, senior year, if we win our senior year, like
you're gonna tackle him.
I'm seeing that like. And we end up losing, but
did you still see it?
No, man. You gotta earn it.
See, I gotta tell you though, I guess I'm a goalie too. Or I was a goalie playing, and that's not lacrosse, but hockey goalie and superstition. Baseball too, superstition. If it works, and eating chicken, eating this, going to bed, doing the same routine, even coaching, I feel the same way. I coach this. I wore my stupid shorts. I would wear those camo shorts. Everyone's like, dude, the camo shorts out there. Superstition. I had to wear the certain things. I had to leave early at a certain time because it's just, I get it. I'm quirky too, I guess.
Process versus superstition is the camo shorts.
I'm with you. Zach, you're going to get you a pair, Zach. We're going to get him pairs. I did. I busted him out. The leg, I got him out. My God. All right, so the senior year, you got kicked in the face. You lose. You're looking around now. You're like, what are we going to do now? What is the goal now after? Are you going to play professional? Are you going to go to doing the USA team? What's the next progression on that one?
Yeah, so luckily at the time we were able to, so MLL at the time, so Major League Lacrosse, we were drafted in January. So we kind of knew. So we knew where we were going.
So you did know beforehand. So everyone's, on that team, how many people got drafted?
I mean, we had a good amount. There was probably, I would say, like 10 or so. And the draft is always it's always hit or miss because it just depends on like who's available when you start. Like it is especially at that time. It's a fly in fly out league. So you fly in Friday, you practice Friday night, shoot around Saturday, play Saturday night.
You guys played the Saints too, right? The Saints, Long Island Saints, New York Saints. They were.
We didn't play them. Was that indoor or was that?
I think that was the indoor
was that
team.
Indoor?
Yeah. What was the other team? The Red Bulls? Was it the Red Bulls that New York had a team?
That's soccer.
Yeah.
The one you might recognize would be the Long Island Lizards.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. They played at like Hofstra.
Yeah, that was one.
That was, and they were there for the duration.
Okay.
Honestly. So I was drafted, and my roommate as well. We were both drafted to Rochester. So the Rochester Rattlers. So going in the season, it was kind of cool because we knew move out time for school. We always get like some time after, and so we knew that time. We knew we could go like hit a couple MLL games, and then John and I had a schedule for the whole summer to kind of figure out what we wanted to do in terms of coaching. Him and I really took a love to coaching. So and so we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, and so we went to Oregon. We worked for the Powells for a while, so there was Ryan was in Oregon, so we went out there for a week. Casey was in Florida at the time, so we went down there for a week, and then Liam Banks, who was a Cuse alum as well, was in Atlanta, and so we just kind of did the camp tour. So we'd do camp during the week, and then we'd fly to our game, play, and then fly either to the next camp. And so we did that for that whole summer.
When you're going around, and certain markets aren't really lacrosse markets, let's be honest. Like Florida probably wasn't a lacrosse market. Atlanta probably wasn't a lacrosse market, but Rochester probably was. And I don't know about Portland. How did that feel when you camp and when you're coaching kids? Were you kids, correct? Mm-hmm. You're doing what age group were they? And how did you feel about having that coaching and having the talent level in those cities that are not traditional lacrosse markets? Yeah,
they were definitely emerging markets, but probably farther along than you would think. Okay. Like, I think especially back then, right? It's like now I think some people would like talk about Atlanta as a lacrosse hotbed. I would say Florida, depending on where you are, very like a lot of kids get recruited out of Florida.
Florida's everything now.
Yeah,
they do everything now.
So and that's where I would say they were emerging, but for us it was more that like we would go and just like have a bunch of fun, and we knew the game really well, but like I loved just going to these camps. And we were like kind of like the young guns of the camp, and then there would be like older coaches, and so like I loved going. I was the energy guy. I would jump around kids, like just have like, hey, let's get them sweaty, put a smile on their face, and have a ton of fun out here.
And the old coaches like, what are you doing? Get off my lawn, right?
That's right. Or like and so we were the energy guys and had a blast doing it. But like what I took away from it was. And I don't think I knew this at the time, but now looking back is like I was learning so much of just like different drills and even still playing. So I was like able to be like, oh, that's a cool drill. How can I integrate that at home? Because I have to do this, at home by myself essentially, to make sure that I'm ready for the weekends.
Yeah, and just weekends games, not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're out.
Right.
So weekend you're out.
And so we were finding, and that was what was great about John and I being together. We were able to find a routine that we would take lunches, we'd go for a run, we'd figure out a workout space during like wherever we were going. So it was cool to be able to have that, just like accountability wise. And then that kind of was great to allow me to play for so long, just because we were kind of thrown into that. So after that summer, John and I kind of went different ways in terms of what we were going to do. We were actually going to go work, be directors for a club. And it just, at the time it was just like not the right thing. And so John actually, fortunately, he was able to secure a volunteer assistant job at Duke.
Oh, wow.
So he went to Duke to start his college coaching career. Wow. I actually went back to Syracuse for the fall, planning to be there for the full year to just, same thing, volunteer coach. Yeah. And then I was drafted for the NLL, for indoor lacrosse.
Okay.
So
then you played the Saints.
That would have been the Saints. Yeah. So we with that it's a little different. I didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. So
did you play box lacrosse a lot growing up too, or not really?
Not really. No. It's so like it's very similar to hockey. It's on a hockey rink, right? Yeah. So but it's very basketball like with just a shit ton more contact.
Yeah.
But so there was similarities in terms of how I grew up, but I went up for the summer to Canada and played for Six Nations. So
well, everyone out there, if you don't know this, that lacrosse is the sport of Canada too. So I just want to let you know that in Canada, it is lacrosse, not hockey.
We know that.
That's
We
right.
witnessed that firsthand.
That's right.
Move on, guys.
Yeah, I know. They're still upset. Anyway, yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the difference between box lacrosse and regular lacrosse? I mean, you said it's more like basketball, but it's quicker, speed, faster shots. What did you like better? How about that?
You know, I think I took a liking to box a bunch early because it was new. It was different. You know, I played field lacrosse my whole life, right? So it was like, and I tell kids all the time now is even we're trying to get box lacrosse going here because it feels like a different sport, but your stick's still in your hands.
It's like
right?
atmosphere, though.
It's
atmosphere.
And it's like inside. It's a different feel, right? So I loved whatever season I was in when I was playing. So it was like, field is getting tough and I'm banged up or whatever, and I'm just like I'm ready for this, and then all of a sudden box would come because they were different seasons. So I played year round. It was a lot of travel, a lot on the body, but I loved
injuries.
it.
Did you get a lot of injuries from that too?
I mean, fortunate. I was very
Knock on wood.
fortunate. Yeah, that's it. I was
you
very
go.
fortunate. In that space. But so I mean, so then I was drafted by Rochester as well.
Oh wow! So
And
you stayed there.
So NLL at the time did it a little bit different. So they moved me to Rochester because they were like, hey, you're an American. I was one of 6 Americans at the time in the NLL. And they're like, you stink. You need to be at practice. So like, if you don't come up here and live, like we'll probably not do it.
Boy.
So it was just, I had to go to the Syracuse coaches and, hey, is this something that, I want to do? And so, decided to do it, to give it a shot, and super obviously glad I did.
Nice, very nice.
Well, would you compare like outdoor soccer and indoor soccer? Is it similar going from real lacrosse to box lacrosse?
It's a great comparison. Yep. It's exactly, essentially the same in terms of like what you're getting, because the rules are that there are a few different rules. Like you can openly cross check in, so there's a few rule nuances, but everything else is pretty much the same. I would say so you basically think like if for indoor soccer, it's tighter spaces, quicker decisions. So the big wind up fastest shots, because the goalies are like hockey. They're wearing hockey pads basically. And it's
we'll
a
talk
smaller
about that
goal.
one later. I got to be honest with you. That's something that we're going to have a little beef with. I got to be honest with you. I got some beef.
I love that. I love that.
I got some
Can't
beef
wait
with that
for it.
one.
So you won't see as much. It's a little bit more like, moving the ball east and west on each side of the goal, getting the goalie moving a little bit, because if he's just standing there to a hard step down, he's just soaking in the pads.
Well, you've got the rebounds, right? I mean, in indoor soccer, you miss the goal, it's right back out there, and it's a lot of action. You miss the goal in soccer, you're a bum.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different mentality when attacking. But what did you like more about box lacrosse? What
I like the up and down, the speed. I liked the close quarters. In for me, playing box and then going back to field lacrosse, everything like slowed down. The ball even just looks like it's moving slower, and not necessarily the speed of the ball, but it's just like the tic-tac-toe of the ball, because it's smaller, right? In its simplest form. So yeah, and it was different. Like, I was a serial like sports player. So I just like, it was like something new that was like new, and
I'm
I
sure the
loved it.
fans are right on top of you. The energy, it's got to be, I went to a couple lacrosse games, indoor lacrosse at Nassau Coliseum. It's
Right.
It was intense. It was like cool.
Yeah, the first box game I ever played, my helmet got ripped off and I got punched in the head. So someone could have told me that was a thing prior to the game. But so that's a big deal. And now, looking at it, it's like, yeah, it's entertaining. They're playing music. Like the atmosphere is, it's very different than a open field, slower moving. Even if there's a shot clock, like it's a different atmosphere.
And even if you have the same amount of fans, it's different indoors because it's louder now. So,
3,000 in Nassau and 3,000 at, Hofstra.
Yeah,
even though it's very, very different, right? So no, absolutely. And at the time, like it was like hockey back in the day where they had a fighter, right?
Yeah.
Guy can barely escape, but he can stand on there and throw bombs. And so for us, like when I got drafted, there was this kid, they call him this guy, they call him a surgeon. And I'm like, who's this guy? Why do they call him a surgeon? He gets out there and he just grabs somebody and just bombs them. And
so you're allowed to do that then in that box. So there's no penalties, or there is a penalty, 5-minute major, same way.
5 and 5. Yeah, you take them
great.
both. So unless there's an instigator or something like that, you get a 2 minutes. So the penalties are very similar to hockey. So it's 2 minutes for slashing, 2 minutes for cross-checking, all that stuff, tripping. Everything's 2 minutes, and then there's 5 minutes for roughing.
Did you see the skill level enhance in box lacrosse more than outside? Or did you see like a guy like, oh, that guy's really good in box? Like, wow, he's got more. You can see his skills enhanced. Like, I guess, wow, you can really see this guy's that much better than everybody else. Because when you're in the outside, everyone's good. They're good. And you see a couple of shots, you're like, wow, that's a rocket. But now if you're inside with box lacrosse, you got a guy who's running faster. He's doing more, more talent, more just different stuff, like being original out there, I guess, because that's what it is.
Yeah, there's certainly more. So we call it like stick skills, right? So the stick skills and what guys can do with their stick in box lacrosse is fascinating. And that was something that, like, we had a kid in school, Stephen Keogh, who, he's still playing. He's so old.
Wow.
And he's still, crushing it. But what he could do,
he didn't mean that, Stephen.
No, he knows he's old. He knows I love him too. But so you catch the ball, put it between his legs, and as an American growing, like, we didn't see that. So, he had multiple between the leg goals, like his highlight film in college, because it's a 6x6 and he's been doing it in a 4x4 with this big goalie, right? So, it's just the stuff, the creativity, and that was like the first time that I was introduced to it. And now you're starting to see it trickle into field, which is so awesome to see, and it's cool. And you're starting to see more Canadians play. So Canadian, basically, so if you think about it from a lacrosse perspective, Canada, box lacrosse. That's what they all grow up playing. It's like they play hockey and then box lacrosse. And we always joked in the NLL, is like all the guys in the NLL were, like I said, I was one of 6 Americans in 2011. And so now it's very different, but it's the guys that didn't make it to the NHL. Yeah. So
they go play that.
It's like they go play, I'm going to go play professional lacrosse. And so, but like so with that is like now you're seeing the trickle of both. So now you're seeing a lot of Canadians that are playing more field lacrosse, and the games are kind of intertwining a little bit, which has been, elevating the game tremendously. Gary Gate was one of the best, like, Syracuse guys, but field lacrosse players. But he grew up playing box on the West Coast in Vancouver. So it was like, to see that, it's like, that type of stuff, that was the first time you see it, then it trickles in, and now it's really intertwined, and it's really cool to see. Like, I'm a fan of watching, like, PLL, NLL. Like, this past weekend I watched the finals. Like, it's just, or I guess it was, what day is it? It was yesterday. It was the finals yesterday. So it's just
I wish it's on ESPN more.
I know.
That's where you got to start selling it. It is a great game. It really is, and it's got to be out more. The Ocho has some really bad stuff. You guys saw some of my TikTok. There's some really
kickball,
there's rod hockey, and there's, come on, let's give it
the
real
air
sport.
guitar, and they're showing like 2022 air guitar.
I know.
It's not even fresh. It's tough.
I don't know. I'm getting mad. They got to stop. Ocho, step up your damn game. Let's put lacrosse on, for God's sakes. Give us something here. I don't care about air guitar.
Yeah, where do you watch the box lacrosse?
So the deal is, I know they, like, in Canada, they signed a deal with TSN.
Okay.
So that was big in Canada. Yeah. Our deal is a little different. They're all, like, on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
But they're not, like, you got to go find them.
Yeah,
you
and you got to
So
pay for the subscriptions.
You have
and
to have
everything.
you have to have the plus. Yeah, for sure. And so that's what I would say. The biggest step I think that's been is college, and then the PLL's done a really good job of getting like you'll see games on CBS and like Maine, and you'll see like NBC. I think it's NBC. I don't know which one it is, but
Well, the Final Four you always see on ESPN,
right?
You know, and that's coming up here
and that's
too,
where college games, like all of playoffs are on ESPN or ESPN2, like all the way through. And so this coming weekend for Memorial Day weekend, you'll have
that's
3
always the big
days
ones.
It's like so. But it's like, you know, that's been continually picking up, and then you know, the PLL is just in a tough spot in the summer, you know, and then you kind of get the NLL where it's hockey playoffs, and yesterday was the NLL playoff, so it's like it's where it should be. It's just like,
who's going to watch?
Yeah, it's
Who's
just
gonna
tough.
watch?
It's a tough market. You just got to continue to grow it, and hopefully it, you know, catches on. I mean, it takes a long time for this type of stuff. So, but it's definitely massive strides from when I started playing for sure. So
all right. So you're doing boxing, Rochester. Now, where else are we going to go after this? So Rochester happens. It's, you know, okay. We finished that. Talk to me.
Yeah. So Rochester, my rookie year, I lived there, practiced, got a ton better. I got into probably like a little more than half of the games. And so American rookie, I was pumped about that. The team ended up winning a championship that year. So just got to see a lot of cool things within the organization, and be a part of, you know, some of them. I always say it's like, yeah, I got a ring, but like, it's, you know,
Hey,
I got a couple games.
You're in the cup.
I didn't play any playoffs. Yeah. So it's like,
your name's on a cup.
So I was like, yeah, we'll put that one in the back and not talk about it. But like learning wise, and I got to play with some of like, you know, the best players in the world. And so Cody Jamieson was a guy I played at Syracuse with, and and Sid Smith. And so these guys I won a national championship with, I got to go, you know, kind of see them in their realm of.
And you see them grow too. From you were a freshman, they were a senior, and you're like, whoa, and now you're a man, and now I'm there too. Let's do it again.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. So I got to do that, and then, you know, and then just life happens, right? And so the dream was over a little bit. I played a year of just professional lacrosse, and I kind of looked in the mirror a little bit. I'm like, come on, can we start another year, another summer of this? And so then, you know, my now wife, who I was very fond of, she had moved down to New York City. We had seen each other a bit over the winter, and two of my friends one of them was looking to move to New York City, and the other one was kind of looking for a spot. So just kind of all fell into place, and I'm like, so I, you know, got a sales job with a sporting goods company, and moved down, and we made it work for a few years, and you know, and had a bunch of fun. Like, I wouldn't change that for the world, just life wise. Of like,
Manhattan's a great place to, you know, when you kind of that age, the sky's the limit.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I always joke, my wife and I was like, I remember she would be like, yeah, like we got pizza tonight, the $1 slices, because they were saving up their dollars to go, like, make sure they can go out that weekend. And we did the same. And I'm like, and so we definitely had a ton of fun, and lacrosse was cool for me, just because I was able to kind of get out of it, go do what I loved, make a few bucks, come back and have that. And so it was just like, I was like, I could be a bartender, because I'd have to supplement my income somehow. I'm you know, a starting sales guy that makes nothing. And so that's where I was like, this is my bartending job. And so it was cool, and got to travel, see my buddies, and play a game that I love. So got to do it for a long time. Very fortunate. Lived in New York City for 6 years. My wife and I got married in 2016. Please be right.
We'll edit it out.
Edit that out.
Yeah. It's got to be around.
Ish.
No. It's we're 10 years this September. So very, very excited. So we got married. We're kind of living in. We moved in together. Got a little nicer place, and so we were loving our last year in New York. And so we're like, okay, where are we gonna move?
You had 2 bedrooms in New York. That's it.
No, still one. Still one. Just a little bigger, right? Bigger kitchen. So we were looking around. We kind of just traveling around. Both of us had, funny enough, back-to-back weekends of conferences here in Nashville. Okay. So we're like, cool, let's go down, and we came down, and we loved it. You know, we hit Broadway, and like, we're 26 years old, and like coming out of Manhattan, and we're like, this is perfect.
Yep.
Like, and you know, and just like looking around, my company at the time was based out of Dallas, so that was like really far for us with our parents, and Sarah, but she's from Syracuse as well. Okay. And so both our parents being in Syracuse, it's like really far away. And so, and they had a sister company in Memphis. Okay. And so I like it's funny now to think about it, but I was like convincing my boss. I'm like, yeah, like I'll drive, like I live in Nashville. I'll drive to Memphis to the office like a couple of times a week, and he's like, and so he's like, yeah, it sounds good. And it was at the time of like I was a national guy, so I traveled around a lot.
Yeah.
And so so he was just like, first of all, I just want you to know, I know you're not going to do that. Like, don't think you're pulling one over. He goes, but like, yeah, that sounds great as long as there's an airport. Like, make it work. There was an office here, so got to meet all the guys here. So it was great, and that was 9 years ago. So yeah, so we've been here for 9 years, and absolutely we loved it. It's been great. Met a ton of friends, and her and I moved here. We didn't know anybody here.
That's awesome.
And so we just kind of were like, hey, let's attack this together. Hey, if we don't like it, we can, we know where we're gonna, be able to fall back to.
That was one of my questions. Why Nashville? What happened? And so you just showed up, you and your wife, and you're like, let's do it.
Let's check it out. Yeah, we got an apartment. We got a 2-bedroom apartment this time, so it was great. It's like half the price.
Extra money now.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? And
no dollar pizzas anymore.
That's right. It was
hot chicken, $3. No.
It was definitely a difference. It was definitely a difference of just life, but also like you talk about like food, things like that. Like there was a time where we're like, man, this is very different. You have to be, and again, 10 years ago, Nashville is like different than now too. And so we had to be more intentional than we ever had. Like, I mean, just walking home, getting a salad or something and some chicken, it was like right next door for a bodega, right?
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And so just
like, I need coffee. I'm gonna go downstairs to get a cup of coffee and come back up.
Like, now it's like, get in your car, do this. Is this even worth the squeeze? So
and you're like, damn, I forgot this. I gotta go back out in the store.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely a difference. But we did. We grew to love it. I was still playing, so that was great.
So you were going back and forth to Rochester at this time too?
At the time, yeah. Okay. So luckily. It wasn't that long because it was a brutal travel day. You couldn't get there.
Yeah, you had to go to Baltimore and then fly up into Rochester or go to Buffalo.
They might not even have had Southwest, so it was like I think it was like LaGuardia, and then take the same flight I took for the 6 years prior. So it was like, but it was good. I mean, we did that for 2 years, and then the team moved to Dallas. For my last year, and we had a good run in Dallas, which was cool. Okay. Still the Dallas Rattlers, and then the MLL became the PLL. So when we moved down here, we were fortunate. We both got to keep the same job. That's so good. It was like, hey, like there was really no risk. It was just like, let's go down. We'll get this place that's half the price, and like.
No brainer. It's a no-brainer.
And like, and then because we were talking about she was born in Boston. Her parents love Boston, and so we were like talking about that. And her brother was in Boston at the time, and so we were like, let's go there. And I'm like, wait a second, if we're gonna test something, we might as well like look south. And we were both mentioned like we were interested to move south, and so it all kind of aligned, and here we are.
Nice, very cool. All right, so now you're done. You're done in Dallas. Everything's over. You're looking around. They join. You go, nope, I can't do this anymore. That decision of you pulling chocks of this, how did that feel with you, and how did your wife take it? And was she thrilled that you didn't have to go away every weekend, or is it emotional now? This is it. You're done. You're done playing the game you loved since middle school. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was. I don't think that I knew how hard it was going to be at the time. Mm-hmm. I was ready. I'd done it for a really long time. It's a grind. I played both for like literally 10 months of the year, 11 months of the year really is like every weekend. And I was gone. And so a lot of those things were like, it's time. And we were talking family and all this stuff. But she, like my wife was always amazing. She was like, listen, I've done this for 10 years now. And I'm not going to be the one that pulls the plug on you. She's like, we'll make that, like, I'm good. Like, you decide. And so, which made it harder. I wish she would have been like, hey, don't do this. Perfect. Now all good.
Yeah. That was smart on her part.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. No, she was all in from the jump. And so really I was always under the thought process of, I don't want to be the guy, and this happens in lacrosse, and I'm sure it does. A lot of sports, really, if you think about it. But I never wanted to be the guy that you point to and be like, "Oh man, like
I could have had one more,"
or like I want to go the other way. I don't want to like you to be watching a game and be like, man, he had a great career. He should have retired.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like,
slow on that one.
Yeah. And so I just didn't want to, be that thought process. Like I never wanted to be that human. So it was like, I probably went a couple years earlier than I could have played longer and feel like I could have. Who knows? Like the games of continuing to evolve even since
it's every sport if
faster,
you think about it.
Yeah. Bigger, faster, stronger.
These guys are getting stronger and they're talented.
Yeah.
So talented.
So who knows? Like but again, my John Galloway, Syracuse, we start and then we played together professionally our entire career. And we played on Team USA together. And so that, like, we were both ready. And so that was cool. We got to retire together. We started together, retired together. And that was a big part of it. I think if he was going to hang a year, I probably would have hung around a year, but then you get into that, together. Right? Yeah. So we were in it. And so that made it a little easier right off the jump of just like, cool, we're doing this together. I would say the next summer was tough. And I played indoor for another year, and then I got hurt in the last game. So I broke my collarbone in the last game, which was my first, again, knock on wood, my first big injury, if you will. No surgery or anything like that, but that one stunk, and I was just like, oh man. And at the time I had my oldest Macklin, and so he's 5 now. So I'm like looking at him, I can't like pick him up. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like,
that's
man, it's just like, and again, it's like,
it really is.
Yeah, it's time.
So I was like, perfect. If this didn't tell me. And so retired and then felt really good about it. And again, then had Macklin and like we just buzzing around.
Now
with
you're
him
family
and,
now. Now your time and everything's dedicated and something other angle.
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Well, they always say as a professional sports person, they don't really miss the game. They miss the camaraderie in the locker room. That's always the biggest thing. It's like your buddies that you've played with always in your locker room is where everything happens. And everybody that I've ever talked to that's played professional sports is like, yeah, I didn't miss it because my back hurt, my knees hurt, my arms hurt, everything hurt. But I missed the locker room. That's the one thing that you missed.
Absolutely. I mean, and fortunately, we have a great group that kind of keeps in touch, both college and professionally, and so that helps. But it's not the same.
Oh,
it's like you absolutely miss every bit of that, and and so it's hard. I mean, there's no like. You can try to find it with your home buddies and having some bourbon on Saturday night, and it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
So
no, those boys, those are the ones you went to war with. You're out
exactly.
there, you're sweating, and you're sitting there, you just pass me the pop.
Yeah, exactly. And they just don't even have to say it. It's just a hand up, and you know when's coming. So, no, I agree. And again, I think I do feel that's a little bit of what I'm doing now is that community. Mm-hmm. I think is a part of it. Again, I don't think that was like at the forefront, but it certainly has been something that's been very interesting for me to not just for myself but to build for Nashville is a lacrosse community.
Well, that's the next question is, so you're here, that's over, and you go, you know what? I want to give back to the community. I want to present lacrosse in a non-traditional market, right? How did that start, and how did that work out with you? I mean, this is what it's about now. Now we're getting to today's era with you,
right?
And to bring your skills and your background and your resume to Nashville, a football SEC market, a now hockey market. Talk to me, talk to us. Yeah, talk down podcast land. How did that work, and how is that working for you right now in the Nashville market?
Yeah, I mean, so the lacrosse was here, right? So I didn't bring it here by any means. I think there's a ton of people that put a ton of work in and did it really, really well. And so there was a great lacrosse community, like a lot of people playing. Like it was all kind of here.
What year was this?
So I started it 4 years ago is when I kind of came into play. So
because
at 22,
there was, I guess, a mark, because I didn't even know about it because my friend Russ at the time used to tell me all the time, get your kid in lacrosse, and he was the one who got him the first fiddle stick. I got him running around hitting it, and then he goes one of his buddies was down here that was doing it. He's like, I'll get you. I was like, he doesn't want to play lacrosse, but Yeah, so that's 4 years. So it was already here then. I didn't really realize it to the depth now, but
yeah, it was. It was niche, right? It's like and that's the sport. So, but there was a good crew here that started it that did a really good job. Kind of just more than anything, just like hey, play. Like, here's lacrosse. Like, here, like, let's play. Teaching them the game, obviously, and like all that stuff. But yeah, they did an unbelievable job. And so, like, I even talked to a few of them prior to starting mine because I had respect for them. And you know, I just was like, hey, like, this isn't about, like, it's really more so, I just don't know, like, my skills, how I'm looking to do things. If I honestly, like, help, like, you guys got it going, you know, you're doing your thing. Yeah. And so, and, you know, for me, I had a vision. I, you know, put a lot into it through my career, just between all the different, I played on a lot of NLL teams. I played, you know, for a few different coaches in the PLL, Team USA. So I had a notebook, and I still have a notebook. And so I just had a vision of what I kind of wanted to do when that time came, if it ever came. And
well,
so,
did you coach at first? Did you have a foray into just having a team, or did you jump right into starting your own academy?
Jumped right in. Yeah. So I coached at different levels. So I coached for Team USA, like the youth development program that they had. So in like camps, and we did a lot of all-star teams, but again, nothing really outside of like the being a coach for some of those guys I mentioned. Not really. I coached at Syracuse for a little bit, so I had a lot of like little stints of coaching.
So how do you get the courage to just start a business like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So a guy the mutual friend that I knew from,
and without stepping on toes.
I'm sure. No, yeah. I mean, listen. Like, I definitely stepped on toes. Like, right. I tried.
Business is business.
I tried to do it respectfully. You know, obviously, anytime competition comes in, it's hard, and I've been there.
But you don't want to be the only person in town too, because then the prices go up, and that's a whole other episode.
Right. That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of that, and I believe just like competition, you know, breeds success, and you hold each other, and if you're not doing a good job, there's a place to go, and I believe in that. And so I had there was a guy in Charleston who ran a club in Charleston, and he called me. We knew each other from, actually, funny enough, Stephen Brooks was our mutual friend. Like I said, lacrosse world's like so small. So he called me. He's like, hey, I'm looking at Nashville. And I was like, hey, I just retired. I'm actually doing the same. And we just connected on it, and we chatted through it. And so we kind of started it together. It was great. It got bigger and pretty fast. And so I don't know that either of us saw that. And so
why do you think the success got bigger and bigger and bigger? How did that happen? What do you think was the drive with that?
Yeah, I think we were pretty intentional about what we did at practice and how we ran practice, and setting a standard, and trying to create the culture that we wanted around the game. And not, you know, at the time it was like there was a lot of like those crazy uniforms, and, you know, so we didn't want to do that. We wanted to be a little bit more, hey, we're here to work, you know, as opposed to like a lax bro mentality. And I saw a lot of that growing up, and that's okay. And it is what it is. But I think the game moving into a little bit more of a workmanship type culture is like really important. And so that's what I wanted to build here. And so I think we did that, and I think it was just a little bit different. And so kids and parents, again, they talked fast, and you know, word spread. And so we had a good first summer, but it was small, you know, we had 4 teams, and we fell into some really good coaches, and that's the biggest thing. That's the most important thing. So
I got you just lining up questions that I have written down for you too. I do want to let you know that somebody that has been on our show, and he's a friend of yours too, is Matt Kelberg.
Oh yeah.
And he said, you know, bottom line, he told me, quote unquote, he runs the best program since day one. And it's better at any program, any practice in any other sport that he's been around in Chicago and in Nashville since, I mean, he's like, by far, he goes, this man runs the best program and the best practices that he's ever seen in any other sport. So that's kudos on you, man. That's amazing.
really appreciate Matt saying that. And he's been a day one guy, him and Ryder, and they make sacrifices a ton. And so that means the world to me, to be honest with you. And I love that and super appreciative. I'll pay him when I get out of here.
There you go.
Yeah, so.
Well, and the other one is you talked about coaches. You had some skilled coaches. What's some of your coaching philosophy, and also how do you get other coaches to bite on to agree exactly what you're going to be selling here and you're trying to present to everybody? Yeah,
we're by no means reinventing the wheel, right? I think it's for us is we're in it together. Right, I think it's a team mentality. It's a bunker mentality. Club sports is, as you guys know, is a wild world, and and at times I really look in the mirror and try to be like, hey, are we part of the problem? Are we helping? Are we hurting? And a lot of that goes through, but my feeling always comes back to is, what's our culture look like? How are we affecting these boys and who are turning into men, and how are we affecting their lives, and how are we on and off the field? And so I just believe in sports and what that brings to a young kid, and if we can provide a positive growth moment for kids, then I feel like everything's going to work out. And so that starts with the mentality of like, hey, if you want to be a part of this, you got to be a good dude. Like that's number one. Like anyone I talk to that wants to coach, I get on the phone with them, I talk to them or meet them in person, and everyone comes out. Our coaches try out as well. So our players have to try out. So I believe in our coaches having to try out. So they all have to come, and just be around. And so like, be a good dude, kind of for also bring an attitude that we can, that meets our standard. And so what I mean by that is like, we want energetic. We don't want just screaming at our kids. Yeah. We want constructive. Like I'm all good with a yell here and there and setting a standard, but it's not, what are you doing? Like that to me is like, what are you doing? Like they don't know. Yeah. Like, so tell them,
what are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
That's exactly. And, and I hear a lot of that, right? Is like, or like, a simple one, which is a little bit more into it, is like pick up a ground ball. And it's like, okay, well, like, is their hand on the plastic? Is there, are they 2 bucks down? Are they scooping through? Are they pushing their hands to space? What, you know what I mean? So it's like,
okay, so you broke a record, right? With ground balls. Like, how did you get so good at doing that? Like, what was your tactics or your techniques?
Yeah, I mean, luck, but I think what I had is I try to use a lot of anticipation. So that was like something for me is just as an athlete, I really try to anticipate things. But I also just, one of my biggest things, and I tell our boys this all the time, and I don't think they believe me that this is the mentality I had, is get the ball to space. So anytime, and if you were to watch me play, sure, there's balls that I would pick up and run out. But there was a lot of balls that I'm moving to space, whether it's with my stick or with my feet. I have a soccer background, maybe easier, but that's my mentality is if I can, the scrum's over here. If I can get it over there going my way, and then I can go pick it up. And so I think I had some success doing that. And so that's where the nuance of like pick up the ball when it's in a scrum, I was kind of laugh at it. I'm like, well, there's 4 sticks around there. He's getting slashed in the arm, and his hands are way down at the bottom of his stick. It's like, he's not going to pick that up. So it's like, get it to space, or like a thing that like I use is like, get it going your way. And so that's and that's kind of when we talk about our coaches, like back to that, it's like, that's where we want to make sure that we're educating them. And then we've told them, we've coached them. Like Coach Janowski, Team USA coach, legendary coach, I walked in, I was old at this point, and he said, listen guys, we're going to coach you because we believe if we haven't coached you on it, then you shouldn't know it, or you may not know it. And then that falls back on us if you don't know it. So that's the mentality that I've taken, is like, hey, we're starting from the bottom every season. And we're gonna work our way up and not expect kids to know. We're gonna teach them, and then we're gonna expect them to practice it and remember it and continue to do it. But that sets our standard, and then we can hold them to that standard, as opposed to just saying a standard and then being like, well, that kid's never learned it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, you go to the different sports, the websites, the academies, they all kind of have the same philosophy or culture. It's almost like Claude wrote it for them. How do you try to break through and actually practically implement the goals? Like, how do you hold the kids accountable for doing their part of it?
Yeah, and I would say that's the biggest growth thing that we're currently doing. Is so our plan. So we have I write our practice plans. So I write all of our practice plans, and then we have they're trickled down to our coaches, and then our coaches look at them. They ask any questions. But in the practice plans, we're looking at what are we coaching in this drill. So we're not just running a drill. We're teaching X, Y, and Z. So when we start a ground ball drill, we start it with, hey, here's where we want our hands. Here's where, we want 2 butts down. Here's where we're going to scoop through. We're going to push our hands to space. And then in the next 3 steps after we pick this ground ball up is the most important, because that's where you're getting free, right? And so those things being taught at every level, at every team, then that way they all know that. And then when we're working on a ground ball drill, we can hold them accountable to that. So it's really just in the drill, making sure that we're touching on those specific things that we're talking about, and then that way we're able to, even for me, like when I'm walking by a field and I see a kid and I'm like, okay, we're confident in the fact, because I know that we've run these drills, and if they haven't learned it, then it's like, okay, we go back? Then I go back to the coach and I'm like, hey, did we talk about this? Did we do this? And it holds our coaches, myself, our players accountable to it. And then to the point of like, how do you know like what they are? We're implementing, and this is one of the big things, that the acquisition or the merger or whatever you want to call it, from my old brand to Mad Dog Nashville or Nashville Dogs. One of my biggest things are like, how is this going to elevate this experience for our families, and what is this going to do for Nashville Lacrosse? And sure, that of course helps our brand, helps our teams, all that stuff. But like, if we were just to change a logo and do the same thing, I didn't believe in that. Yeah. And so the biggest one, I would say, there's a couple, but the player development piece is like different. Like it's able for us to have our players, different drills, things like that to continue to elevate. And then there's other people involved in it, so that I'm hand up, not the smartest one in the room, but I'm certainly there to learn and as we go through it. But and then the thing we're implementing this season, which is probably by far the most exciting, is our evaluation process. So all of our teams every kid will get an evaluation in the middle of the season and then at the end of the season.
That's perfect, because I think it's funny you say, because I coach baseball. And
I want to say, we haven't done, that's been something that I've tried to build. I've said I'm going to do it, and like that was like a huge thing for me when I signed with the doing Mad Dogs. Like, just didn't have the time.
Yeah,
like, there's so many things,
and you forget during the season. You're like, forget.
You just do.
I listen. I know I coach baseball. I'm in there too, and it's always like, you do the drill. Is the reason why you do a drill, and to get the kids. And I've had a coach tell me, "You're not my cup of tea, but boy, you get everything out of these kids." So you know who you are. You said that, but I want to introduce one person here. We got Sam the intern here, and Sam the intern wanted to ask a question, and I think this is the perfect time to talk about it right now. So Sam, here you go, buddy.
Hit me, Sam.
I had a question on how does the mentality change from a former player who was amazing at their position and at their sport? How does the mentality change from going player to player, kind of having the same mind as them, to a coach and multiple players together in a group?
Sam, that's a great question, bud. And I think for me, it's educational, right? So when I think about me playing and then moving into coaching or being player to player to player to coach to player, is how I explain it. So my thing is, are we breaking it down instead of just saying, I used to do this a lot even when I was going through, it's like, hey, just do this, right? Just do this. And it's really hard to, just do this is a tough saying for kids, because it's at this point, especially for me, it's easy, right? It's easy for me, but for a beginner or for, a youth player to just say, for me to just say, do this is really, is really just kind of when we, it's tough, right? It's tough for them to grasp it, and they're watching it. And so what we try to do is we make sure that we're really intentional in the way that we tell them where their hands are, explain, how they're holding it. And we make little jokes about like when you're passing and catching, I always say like QB arm, right? Or you're throwing a baseball, and try to make it so it's a little bit simpler, and it's trial and error. It really is. It's trial and error for what works. Like something that works for you may not work for the player next to you. So we have to adapt to that and can't just keep using the same sayings. We got to figure out different ways. Okay, it's not clicking. Why? Can we explain it a different way? And that's why I believe we try to switch our coaches around, because everyone does like a little tidbit differently. So I'd like to have our players hear things that we're trying to get to the same goal, but hear things from a different perspective. And I think that's important in the terms of understanding. So I think that's a great question, because it's easy for a player just to be like, yeah, I can shoot it hard. Here you go, and watch me do it. And I think that's like back to the technical pieces of coaches. I think that's where the sport's evolved, is like, and then what I think is if we can teach them, kind of the building blocks of it, then I can but you got to watch lacrosse. And so I think that's something that misses, is because the game's not around. It's like, it's harder to find, is watching the game of lacrosse, even a high school game, but like college is like the pinnacle right now. It's like, if you're watching college lacrosse and not just watching where the ball goes, but watching the position you play and a player that you think you're kind of like. And that's, I think, where you put the building blocks together and then see it and then practice it, and it all kind of comes together for you.
I want to jump on that question there too, because you just said something, watch the game of lacrosse. And I tell that to my kids all the time. I'm going to take this back over here. I'm going to take the game back to us. There you go. I take the game back to, because it's baseball IQ, football IQ, hockey IQ is something that it's not clicking because they don't watch the game. They watch highlights. They watch, and like you just said, watch the game of lacrosse. That's how you become smarter in lacrosse IQ. That's exactly what you have to be looking for too, right? You're looking for a kid. If you're going to take a kid, or you're looking at him, you go, this kid's got all the skills in the world, but he's watching highlights. He's watching guys jump around and throw it behind his back or doing it underneath his legs, because that's sexy. That's the cool one. That's the highlight reel. Everyone wants to see that. Nobody wants to see the little detail things of everyone doing. So how do you choose a kid, or you say this kid's got something that other kids? How do you separate that right now with some of these kids
for our players?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I mean, obviously you gotta have something, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have a little bit of whether it's stick skill or maybe you're super athletic, right? And so we have the super athletic kid that we got to work on his stick. Okay, so now I need to give him things to do, not while he's at practice. These are the things that you got to do. And so we have like a wall ball routine that we kind of give out to our players, and that's fairly new too. And so that's, hey, go do this, and I promise you in 2 weeks, if you do it every single day, it's 10, 15 minutes, whatever. If you do that 3 times a week, but it would be great if you could do it every single day. But certainly in 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see a difference if you do it. Yeah. And no one understands that, like, that's a thing, and I promise you, I can tell. And so,
oh yeah,
and it's so glaring. And when I moved from short stick to long stick at Syracuse, I always had the stick in my hand, so I didn't really get the, like, I probably should have played wall ball more, because no wonder they changed my position, because my stick skills were a little raw, right? So I should have definitely played more wall ball when I was younger.
Here's the big one.
When I got that big stick, it was like, okay, I need to go out and figure out how to pass and catch, and I need to worry about picking up ground balls. So all I did was I went to the wall and I would just play. And again, I was trying to be fast, but I noticed myself, because I played every single day, I would literally go out to the wall for 25 to 30 minutes, just banging it off the wall, and then go to the turf, and I would just roll the ball out and pick it up and throw it back out, pick it up and run to space. And so that was an hour workout for me that I would just like go do. And I personally saw it. So then all of a sudden competitive comes out, right? It's like, you're like, that was cool. Can I get this better? And so that's where, like, when I think about it, it's like, that's the stick is the equalizer. So you can be super athletic, but if I have a really good stick, I might be able to shoot the ball around you. Like, now I can play off ball. Like, there's just different things that you can do. So, and then, if you're if you have a really good stick, it's like, okay, now we need to work on like jump rope, speed ladder, speed and agility stuff. Like that's like, there's just different things that you need. And then you could have a player that has both of those, but has no idea how to play the game. And so then it's like, okay, you need to learn how to play lacrosse. And so you're just running into 5 people and you get the ball taken away from you every time. That's not like you can shoot hard, you're cradle, you're athletic, you can pass, but you run into 5 people every time. Yeah. So it's like, that's where it's just kind of finding what it is and then providing that. And that, like, truthfully, why the evaluation thing for us is like, it's a staple. And like when it comes out, like I can't wait for what it brings to our program, because it's just parents are paying money.
Yeah.
I do, like, I put my heart and soul into this thing, so I feel good about that. So it's like I think we do a pretty good job. We have a great group of coaches. We try to be as prepared as we can. Is there always chaos? Absolutely. But we try to, if like, I always welcome feedback. We always try to get better. But what are like they actually like getting back, And it's like, sure, we go to a tournament, that's fun, but like tangible stuff, and that's where I've been really trying to dig in on tangible stuff that we can provide, and that is the first one that's right on the cusp that we'll be able to do this year. And then there's more on the pipeline that we're talking about.
Does that include video analysis?
It doesn't yet, but there's a component of it. So the first one is because it's really just like how to get it to market, right? So we were looking at it. That's the second iteration. The first one is really, it's just like there's a scale, and then we want them to all kind of be the same too. So there was like standardization around it. So there's a scale, and then there's notes. So there's specific things, and then what we'll be able to do is provide skills and things like that. Hey, this is what will help with this. This is what will help with this.
This is like your plan of action that you need to work on in the winter or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's kind of cool too. Is I always tell the kids, hey, when you study for a test, right? Do you go into the test? They're like, no, I study. I said, well, what do you got to do at home then? You got to get to work. Do the wall ball. Do that stuff. Then we'll know you study for the test. And it's kind of cool. And I want to get to another point here in a little bit, but I have another question here. Getting kids into your program, and we'll get to your program in a second, but getting kids, are you having it a hard time or to get kids to play lacrosse instead of baseball, soccer, or other sports? We know a couple kids that have played hockey and go into lacrosse because, like you said, it's almost like a turnkey a little bit, and they do it in the summer and then they go play hockey again in the fall. It's pretty similar. Are you finding it harder, or now you're going to go, hey, no, we're full. We got enough kids, but we want more kids, obviously. But what are you seeing, and how do you get kids to play lacrosse? I know. I already talked to Mr. Kelberg, and he told me, he goes, yeah, he's going to tell you to make sure he wants my kid to go play lacrosse as a goalie because he's a catcher. So I know
that's right. Yeah,
he's going to say so.
That's right. No, we'll take him. Let's go. We'll and I think that's the thing. The entry of lacrosse is a really interesting topic. Like for me, in terms of obviously I have a 5-year-old. He walks past the stick. Sometimes he knows it's a lacrosse stick. Sometimes he doesn't. And so it's like, the entry of lacrosse, what does that look like? And that could mean from a 5-year-old, but that also could mean from a middle schooler. And so there's this, you hear barrier to entry, hockey's got the same stuff. It's like, and so that's where it's an interesting topic for me in terms of what our program looks like, in terms of it, like when you talk about like a feeder, it's not like, hey, like I think organically if kids want to play travel, there's a great rec program. Like Travis Anderson has done an awesome job. And then Travis is like kind of brought everything together, but all of these teams do such a great job of just getting kids in the neighborhood and schools, and they know the kids. I don't know the kids, not yet.
Kelberg definitely tried to recruit me. I can tell you that.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I mean by like how we grew fast is word of mouth, just like that. It's like, hey, come out and try it. But like the issue is come out and try it is actually really hard, even for rec. And so there's something a little missing there, but the rec program has all those coaches and dads and it's continually getting better. And so like for that is like, that's great for the game of lacrosse. And like, so that's what I've always said is like, how can we support that? I believe in that. Those are where kids go play with your buddies.
You got to build it. Yeah, you got to build it now.
And that's awesome. And so like, how can we support that? And then, so like in terms of entry to our stuff is like, I do believe depending on the age, like we do have access to good coaches. And so now we pay our coaches. So there's money involved, and so I'm very apparent of that, and so that's why I believe in like kind of what we're rolling out there is like there's this costs money. It's important. So if they want to do it, we want to make sure that we have good coaches. We have a lot of coaches. Like we have a team right now the kids are super young. I think they're like a couple first, second, third graders out there, and we have almost a 2-to-1 ratio with all of our coaches to those for the hour that they're out there. Wow. And so like that's really important, and it costs money, and that's the downside of it. But it's like these kids, if we can continue to elevate them, some of them are going to play baseball, and that's okay. And so it's just like to get the stick in their hands. We really try to do some stuff at the ages of when they're super young, and some of that will go away as lacrosse grows, right? It's almost separates a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I want to zoom out a little bit. I got what I call my material facts.
Material facts. Here we go. We got the brains of the group comes in. Here we go.
850,000 total lacrosse players in the United States right now.
Numbers guy.
Youth participation is up 27% since 2019, right? So it's growing pretty fast in the past 6 years. Mm-hmm. In high school, you've got 113,000 boys playing and 102,000 girls playing, which is a lot. There's about 3,400 high school programs across the country, and it's sanctioned in 26 states. Now, Tennessee just became sanctioned last year in 2025, and we just had our first state championship.
Yep,
right
there you go.
Sam was out there calling.
He called the game.
With that, man. He did a great job.
Who was it? Ensworth?
Ensworth against Knoxville Webb.
Okay, and here's the teteams. We got Ensworth. We got MBA, of course. You've seen their facilities. It's crazy. McCallie is out of Chattanooga. They're actually a powerhouse. And then you got Memphis University School also. So we've got a statewide high school program. I think most of the action is in the club, though, and we can talk about how you recruit if you're serious. And I want to know what the path is. I want to know what the realistic path is, because a lot of people get to college. And what I used to think is, look, people are trying to do lacrosse. It's a little bit of an alternative sport. It's not the first sport you get into, but they're trying to get scholarships. But I was wrong about that, because there's only 12.6 scholarships per team, I believe, right? So, and you may have 30, 40 kids on the college team. So D1, we've got around 75 teams, right? And some are transitioning, coming in and out. In D2, you got about 79 teams. And then D3, there's 245 teams. But keep in mind that there's not that many scholarships to go around. And I don't know, maybe you'll tell me there is some NIL money. We're always talking about NIL on here,
coming.
Right?
It's coming.
You may get there. For the superstars, there may be some opportunities. But that is sort of the overview of where lacrosse is, and it's just one of the fastest growing sports. But tell us, if you get in at 5 or 6, or maybe you get in at middle school, what's the realistic path for people who want to play in college, and what should they be doing? And like I was thinking earlier, look, if you're good, if you're going to play on Team USA, they're going to recruit you, right? You don't need to go out and do all this. You will get on the radar, and people will find you nowadays. But for people who are interested in lacrosse and just getting started, chart a path for us about how to get there and figure out if college is really something that you should do.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think so. First and foremost is getting in and playing and practicing. I think that's the biggest thing going on in club lacrosse right now. Is there's a lot of games to be had for these kids, and so they're just going around and playing a lot of games, and that's great because it's fun, and that's okay if that's the deal. But the training side of it needs to also come along, because then you're just creating bad habits, right? So you certainly need to start playing. I don't think there's a late. I don't think it's late. Like I was late, right? So it's like I don't think there's late, as long as, because a kid that's in 6th grade that comes in and has some athletic ability and picks up the stick and loves it and has it in his hands for the next 6 months is going to pass half the kids that have been on the team for 4 years that don't do that, right? So I would say entry level, you get in, you gotta play at some point, and that includes rec, club to some extent, but you don't have to. Like, you don't have to play club lacrosse in the younger ages. Again, I think you get kind of the feel of like there's the travel involved, and you get to stay in the hotels, and you like that's fun. And I think there's a component of not always better coaching, but different coaching, right? So I think that that's a big component of this, is like if you just play for, me every single year from 6 years old until you're in middle school, I like, you're not learning other perspective. And so we try to help that with, like, we rotate coaches and do some things there to some extent. And then, and then playing high school and playing for middle school and playing for a rec team, you just get a bunch of different perspectives. And as you grow older, you're going to then figure out kind of like
put them all together,
yeah. Figure out what it looks like for you. And then when that time comes in the middle school time, is like you start to like, hey, am I good at this thing? And I think that's like where you start to think about it, but still entirely too early. So it doesn't happen until 9th grade. You're looking at it and you're like, okay, we've kind of gotten past like the puberty stuff, and you're like, where is this? And do I like it? And like, where am I playing? And I think there's some context clues around it of like, if you're if you don't play that much on your middle school team, like, is college lacrosse Division I, Syracuse, Duke, like in 9th and 10th grade, that's where you start to put those things together. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not saying you can't go to Syracuse in 9th grade if you don't play for your high school team, but I'm just saying
there are late bloomers.
There certainly are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just mean when you start to like look at that as you go through in 10th, 11th grade, that's when you start getting recruited, right? And then that's where it's like, hey, if you're not getting recruited by those teams, and you've done, there's a lot leading up to it too. Like, that's one thing. Like, I think it's tonight or maybe tomorrow. There's a sophomore rising junior recruiting call that Mad Dog does for any kids that are in our program. They hop on, and there's just a timeline of what it looks like in information, and like, here's a template like that we talk about for like coaching emails. So you're not just like, what's up, coach?
Yeah.
Like, and so there's like, we try to provide a lot of that stuff.
You help guide them.
But,
I like it.
But also they got to own their own process, right? So if they're not working out, working on their stick, attending practice, doing those things like on the back end, it's like, well, this thing isn't just going to happen because you think you want it, like when it's lacrosse season. And we do get a lot of that. And like I'm sensitive to it because like basketball season, basketball is my favorite sport. Lacrosse season, lacrosse is my favorite sport. So I actually joke with a lot of our guys is like, hey, it's lacrosse season, isn't it? Because they're
they got to come to practice now. Yeah, it's like, all right. Hey, I'm missing practice. I got football today, or I got basketball, whatever.
Or they, football season, they put their stick down for 4 months, and like, again, that's okay because I love that you're involved and you want it.
Multi-sports.
But if you want to play college lacrosse, you got to go to football practice, and you got to go home and pick your stick up.
Yeah, you got to keep working. Hey, you know what? I got to tell you too.
Did that answer your question, by the way?
I think you got to get realistic at 8th, 9th grade about the work ethic, right? And if they've got that and they have the desire, then they can get a chance. But I guess the next question is, and this is something Travis was curious about, is the recruiting services today. Like, you got these advisors, you've got all these different people or next college athlete you can sign up for, and it's getting more and more aggressive. And what's the goal? People talked about it in their book about how people are selling you a service on top of the club and everything else, about how I get exposure, and whether it's on the socials or you got to do a highlight reel or you got to do all this. There seems to be more and more of these popping up. Some of them are legitimate. Some of like
money
Coach
grabs.
Murph is an advisor and he's a scout. But there's also people that are just trying to get a little bit, and they're not getting as much as maybe the clubs, but they're getting their slice and they're casting a wide net. And in softball in particular, there's a lot of third-party recruiting people that are coming out. Do you expect that in lacrosse? Do you think that there is a place for that? And how would you advise folks that are in that D1, maybe D2 bubble area? How would you advise them to find someone they can trust to help them through the recruiting process?
Yeah. So I think just like anything else is like you got to figure it like who you're hiring. So it's like it's an advocate, right? Is that like that's where you're hiring someone like a consultant, like, okay, cool, you're gonna help me make a highlight tape. Like I feel like that can be done other places. So it's like there's services now that it just depends on like what are you getting with those services, and like are you checking the boxes that you need. And I think the biggest thing that I look at is some of those services, some like former college coaches are getting into that space. I think they at least know the game. So I think that there's like just some resume checking and like their contacts, and like I would say it would be for me if I were to go down that path for like my kids, it would be a heavy interview process, because I think on the surface a lot of those things are like, hey, here's a fee, and it looks minimal if you think about it in a grand scheme of things, but like that's what I think about with our, like when we charge people, like what are we charging them for, like, so that's where we try to back into everything. So I think if there's a plan and they're going to advocate for you and there's value to be had, I'm not going to put those services down. But I also know that recruiting call that we have tonight, I believe they're paying for that. Mm-hmm. So like that was part of, I didn't have the capacity to do that.
Back then,
I didn't.
You didn't. No,
I was
you're
by
on your
myself,
own.
and
Yeah.
it was like, so when I think about it, it's like, that's where I believe that's our job.
Yeah.
So if you're paying to play in our club, I want that to be there. And it historically hasn't been. Mm-hmm. So that's where it was like, again, it was like player development. Yeah. That's like, or like that, the recruiting piece. Now there's, a human that runs all of that, has the college relationships, and then it trickles down. I'm in the group because I know the kid and I know the family, and I'm involved. But now it's like, it's just as someone that's all. He has a sheet. Mm-hmm. He schedules individual calls with all of our 27s. Like, so there's a lot that goes into it, and I believe that's something that we need to provide.
So that could be an internal part of the club is to have an advisor that helps people with the process.
We have a recruiting coordinator is how we name it, but it's not an extra fee.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in the program, there's a lot of different opportunities. If you're playing Division I, there's unlimited, like you can play for Nashville.
You have tons of resources for you.
There's resources, and you can play on multiple teams too. So there's more options to get looks and things like that.
Now this is like something that I wanted to just throw out here. We're talking this, and we've been talking about this the whole time, and we've done our researches here. But I guess to the audience here, just let's reiterate a little bit. What is Mad Dog Lacrosse? What is it? I mean, we're here. We know what's going on, but for the fan out there listening, and hey, I got interest. My kid wants to play Mad Dog Lacrosse. What is it? And again, we're just talking about. Again, we have resources and stuff like that for you. What is it? Help us out here.
So I look at us as a lacrosse community, right? Mm-hmm. So I look at us as we're obviously a travel lacrosse program.
Brought it on the website for you.
Yeah, great. That's perfect. So we're a travel lacrosse organization. We have youth all the way through to high school. We provide 2 seasons a year within the Mad Dog umbrella, and so our main season is the summer. So spring, summer, which we're in right now, and then we'll take a little time off, and then we do a fall season as well, and we'll have same thing. You kind of just run through your practice, and then a couple tournaments. And then the larger organization goes across the country. So that's where you get more involvement if you're able to just provide for more opportunity. When we're signing here, it's like resources, providing more opportunity for our kids to play. Mm-hmm. Outside of Nashville, that's a really big deal for a lot of our kids, especially the middle school, as we grow through this, is like, hey, let's go out and test where we are. And I thought that was a really cool opportunity for us to do, because in Nashville, we may have a team that can't go to Maryland 3 times because it's not fair to the team. I love to go there once, check it out. The whole team gets to see like this is the real thing, right? But we got to do other stuff, right? Whereas like, I think so providing selected kids on those teams that, want to do this thing and want to keep going, having other opportunities, I think is super important. And then for the families, I look at it as like calendars and dads, right? Is like, and dads and moms of like, they're navigating multiple kids, all these calendars, kids are playing a million sports. So being able to line the calendar up with, if there's like Mad Dog national team or a Mad Dog select team, and then there's our regional Mad Dog Nashville.
Like, is this it? The Dogs Nashville?
Yep.
He handed out some hats here. So that's another question. What are the Nashville Dogs?
Yeah.
What is that?
So we're the regional leg of this of the Mad Dog brand. So that's just like our nickname. So we're Mad Dog Nashville, Nashville Dog, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good name.
Yeah,
the Dogs.
Everybody
wants the Dogs.
That's right. That's
Play
right.
like a dog.
That's what we want. We want a bunch of dogs out there. So, but so like I said, we're able to kind of line the calendar up so that it makes it easier for families. Because right now you have families like you mentioned, Travis. Like a lot of these, they're trying to find other stuff, which I respect, and like they've been great to me in terms of like, hey, what's your calendar? We're going to fill weekends in, and if that's what you want, that's what you should have. But now all of a sudden you're getting this like, because there's so much stuff to do, you're getting into this like you don't really know what team you're going to go on, and you don't know like what you're kind of getting into. The coach may not know you don't have an advocate, right? And so that was a part of this. When I look at it, is like if I can call someone in New Jersey and they need a midfielder. And then I can be like, hey, I have a midfielder. He's trying to fill in a weekend. I know their schedule. Okay. So then that way we're kind of planning around each other.
So you can pull kids from each state and go, hey, listen, let's put this kid on this team if they need somebody. So they're pulling from it.
Yeah, if it doesn't conflict, right? So it's like, and if it's a fill.
And if the parents want to do it, yeah.
Like we would always fill for us. Like we would always fill from Nashville if we have the bodies.
Yeah.
But like the difference is if someone's in New Jersey, they're not playing that weekend, they're in our umbrella. Yeah. So they kind of know our offense and they know some of the terms we're doing, right? And so that alignment allows us to be able to pull, instead of just grabbing someone off the street, which doesn't know what we're doing, and then all of a sudden he's like dodging into five guys, and everyone's like, it's a system. Yeah, and and again, so that's like it just creates a little bit easier of like providing more opportunities. Also, some like we've had people that just have conflicts, and like we're scrambling at the end, and and again, when I think about this, it's like the experience is super important to me because I believe in what we're doing, how we're doing it. But like if 4 kids are sick. And then
it happens.
Yeah, and it
or
does.
Someone gets hurt.
And we've like it's been incredible how like to watch. I would say to be able to see these boys in a tough situation has been so eye opening to me in terms of like we had a team that went to a tournament, and again same thing, 4 kids, like it just one kid got hurt, 3 kids just kind of life happens, whatever, and there was 12 or 13 kids. And there's 10 on a field.
Yeah.
So there's 2 or 3 subs at times, and they're playing 5 games in a weekend.
Oh God.
And I'm sitting here like I couldn't even like barely breathe. I'm like freaking out. And these kids, I've never seen, like they just adapt, and they balled out. No one got on each other. They won some games the weekend.
They were dogs.
They were
dogs.
And it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
And that was like, and again, it's not the bikes. And I grabbed them after. I'm like, hey, I want you guys to know.
Yeah,
that was really freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, it's just cool to see, and they really wrapped it around, and that's sports, right? That's not my program, that's not anything. It's just cool to see kids in sports, and that's why like it's just to overcome adversity and just like
life lesson there.
Yeah, that's exactly. So it's just like that was cool to see, and I love watching that and watching the growth of these players and and becoming adults.
That's awesome.
It's rewarding
to see that, and and I see that in baseball too, because some organizations they go, hey, we're short a pitcher this weekend because we have a 5-day tournament and you need pitching, so can we bring some more other kids and in the same organization? And I think that's a great way to do it, because you guys know the culture, the kids know the culture of the program. So it's I've also seen other people I got to a fight this week too.
Sometimes that's a bugaboo of yours is when you call kids up in the wrong way.
Yeah, I got to an argument on Facebook because somebody just decided to put their kid up there. Look at my kid, he hits 10,000. 1,700 home runs, and he wants to go play in Cooperstown, and you live in Texas. Come on, dude, what are you doing? He's not a steer. He's not selling cattle. Come on, stupid kids.
So let's talk about the elephant.
It is real,
it's
man.
awful.
Talk
man.
about the elephant in the room a little bit with private equity and sports getting so expensive that people are getting priced out. Seth says it all the time that hockey is an elitist sport.
It is,
right?
man. It's totally elitist.
So's lacrosse. I mean, people will fly. I've heard them fly into practice, fly out to Charlotte. It's got costs with equipment, maybe similar to hockey, but you kind of came into it with the actual street cred, and started your own thing, and it went crazy. And then somebody bigger came and was interested in partnering with you, whatever you want to describe it as. How did you balance what, was kind of like your soul with the modern business of youth sports, not just lacrosse, but how did you make sure that you had continuity of what you wanted to do when you're it's like welcome to the machine?
Absolutely. And great question. It's real. And who knows where it goes or how far or when it stops. And, it's crazy. So I had every single conversation I possibly could. So that was like my thing, is like, it was just kind of getting like attacked a little bit of like, this is coming. And truthfully, it happened faster than I thought. And it wasn't for,
Well, they probably saw a good thing. That's why.
Yeah, there was some of that, but it's also just like it was fast. Nashville's cool, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this. That's the other thing.
Perfect storm right there for you.
So it just worked out. And again, I think there was some. We've had a little bit of success, but not like. We've continued to grow, which is like we're seeing huge successes. It's just like, but like it's not like, oh, we all of a sudden are some national prominent program yet, right? I think that's our goal, is to continue to build so that we're on the map that way. It's just Nashville's cool, and there was a lot. And I talked to private equity, I talked to other big organizations, and that's kind of what I mean by like. All my conversations led back to what's the experience here in Nashville? What's this providing our families that we've built this on? This is my name. I'm not selling it to someone in thinking that I'm going to sit here and
claps going.
work.
Get the claps. Get the claps. There it is.
And that's what I think the biggest thing was for me, is like there was a it's like what dollars, whatever, right? There was bigger money around private equity. So I saw it firsthand of like, just in conversations of this and kind of what it looked like, and to just become, like an employee of a private equity firm is basically how it looked to me. And, and there were some good things that come with it, by the way. I'm not like saying that there wasn't advantages, for sure. Because they own a bunch of other different clubs, right? So it's like there is some advantages, but there was a few that I talked to that weren't. They were still privately owned, and I gravitated towards those more than anything because I thought it was really important. We're still emerging here, the sport. We're still seeing kids continue to play, and I just wanted to make sure that there was that I could have a grasp on that in what we've built, and not just have to say, yeah, we're going to do that. And so that's what I mean by I was joking around about like what it looks like of like a merger partnership. Like the reality is Mad Dog has brought a ton of advantages for our families, and I've been able to, and not for any other reason, because these dudes that started the brand are just awesome guys. Across I couldn't find someone in the lacrosse world to say a bad word about them.
Awesome.
Is that Dewar? Is that how you say it?
Tommy. Yeah, Tommy Dewar. Yep. And then Aiden. They're the two kind of guys that Tommy started it, and Aiden came in shortly after. And there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's a bunch of guys within the organization that have been with it for a really long time, and that was important. I think there's like 10 different guys that have been there for, a handful to 10 years.
Well,
so
they're
it's
all
like,
over. I mean, that's one of the separators is you think lacrosse, you think Northeast, you think those Ivy League people in the Mid-Atlantic. But Mad Dog is East and West Coast, and then filling it in with Illinois and Utah and Tennessee, Texas. A lot of Texas activity going on. So it's truly a national footprint.
On that, is there a girls program too with that?
They have girls programs,
Okay.
across with their different brands. So to your point, that was also a gravitational pull, being Nashville, being still emerging, especially having a Texas. They're doing it at a high click right now, and then and some of the other ones are like super constant, but they also have New Jersey, right? So they have the Northeast. Piece of it, and they're continuing to grow. They're doing it in the right way, but again, the advantages on the back.
What surprised you about jumping in with them that you thought was a pleasant surprise, something that was great?
I would say the humility around like the calls, like so they and how hard they work. Like I was on a call today with our the national director, the national team. So they're kind of placing all this stuff. But like I hopped in and I was talking about some of our guys. These guys haven't seen any of our kids. So I'm the only advocate for them. And I'm sitting there doing it and they're listening. And then they're asking questions. And then they're like trying to figure out a way to compare them with tournaments we've been to and things like that. So they're just like, and again, there's whether they pick our kids or not, who knows, right? But like, and I believe that they will. And I believe that we'll be able to have some guys have good opportunities. And so the humility around it of like, hey, like, and even our conversations with what this looked like, we were going back and forth because I was bullish on the fact of like, hey, I want to be a part of this in a large way still. This isn't the wholesale that I just want to get out for a couple bucks. Like it's
your passion.
It's my passion. I started it because I love the game. I had good mentors in my life. Like
you want to give back, man.
Parents
are
teachers. Like it's like my whole mom's side of the family. Every single one were teachers, and so it's like it just is. It's in the DNA for sure. And like bless my wife for being able to like look at me and know that and like allow me to do it, because certainly didn't have to, right? I was in, so I worked for a jersey company selling uniforms, BSN Sports. I don't know if you guys know that at all, but it's a sporting goods company, awesome company, worked there for 7 years, and then made the jump to medical device sales and was doing that. And I loved it. Like it was great. It's competitive and all that stuff. But this started, it blew up, and it was at a crossroads of like, this is big, and I can do both okay, or I can jump all in with something that I believe in and kind of own something. And then, and then it got bigger. And then I'm like, that, like talking to all these companies, I'm like, I think we can make this a little better. And like, I can do things that I'm good at, as opposed to like, like tournament registration and spreadsheets. And like, and again, for them, they've done a good job with like managing that and found good people administratively that want to be a part of it. So like it's a full team, and I'm just lucky, right? It's like I'm lucky to be able to do something that I love, be a part of the community, and like coach the game and be around like.
Well, your passion. It's your passion,
it's
man.
great.
And that made you go. That made you go from middle school. Think about it. I mean, you played lacrosse from all that time, and it's your passion. Now it's your turn to give back.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not your kids later on, it's these other kids that you have right now, and that's amazing. Because again, I coach and I love the game of baseball, and I played it. I love it. I love the passion of the game. It's great to give back and to feel the success, and how, you're like, all right, great, this is great with these kids.
And like you're kind of in it a like bit, right? Like I always find it funny. We're sitting there, and it's a 6-6 ball game in the second half, and I see myself and our coaches, we're kind of getting after it a little bit, and we're like, and you get tense, you're like, wait, we got to bring it down. Chill. Yeah, exactly. And
the team feeds off of you.
Totally.
They totally feed off you. You're excited. You're like, all right, then you get mad at something. You're like, ooh, I just did that in front of the kids. I can't be doing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I know earlier I just was talking about a girls program too. Talk to me a little bit about, because I thought the girls lacrosse, they're so talented. Their stick handling is phenomenal. I mean, the sticks are different, but it's just, I remember one time I was at a hockey game. I was playing hockey, and a girl was there with a stick, and she's throwing it against the wall, and she's taking it, throwing it, and she's hitting it with the back, flipping it up. I'm like, what's going on? She's tapping it this way, zipping around. I'm like, the stick handling on this girl was something that I've never seen before. She's throwing against the wall, playing wall ball, hitting the bottom of the stick, popping it back up, grabbing it, throwing it, smacking it with the... I'm like, this is insane. it was insane. The hand. I mean,
That's how I feel too. I like it's incredible. So boys stick, for people that don't know, has a big pocket, right? So there's a big mesh pocket that the ball sits in, and the women's stick is just flat, and there's just leather, right? It's just leather, some rope. Now they do a lot of cool stuff with it. There's some mesh involved, whatever. But there's no pocket, and so it's really incredible to see just the stick handling that they're able to do, the way they're able to manipulate it, and then you watch it's fun to watch. Like college women's lacrosse is unbelievable. I mean, they're throwing it between their legs. They're throwing it behind the back.
They're taking it. They're flipping the stick around and catching it and doing just crazy things. Like taking and flipping. I'm like, whoa, what just happened here?
Yeah, it's
well, also too the reason why too. My friend Jay, when you said earlier, the guy Jay, him, his daughter. It went off. Our lights went out. I don't know if we got here. Are we on still? I think we're still on.
Greg left and it all just.
Greg, what happened here? I don't know if we're down or
You
not.
said you're a Yankees fan, right?
Yes, sir.
So are you a big fan of Freddie Freeman?
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. So I'm a Dodgers fan.
I'm sorry.
I think it might have been this one.
Still
No,
going.
we're still going. Okay, well, there we go. All right. All right, sorry about that.
Just the camera died, that's
Camera
all.
died. There we go. So Greg came back here. But anyway, my buddy Jay. My buddy Jay, guy, he played lacrosse. So I got to tell you a little quick backstory about him before I get to the next level here. Now, Jay was a goalie in lacrosse in Long Island, in Connecticut High School. And he won the most unsportsmanlike player of the year award. He was playing a team called Sachem Lacrosse. They scored on him to win the game in overtime. He turns around with the goalie stick and snaps it over the back of his own net. And, of course, the other team's fans were on him. So he comes running up and he whips his goalie stick into their stands. And hence, back in Long Island, back then, it was all we had a channel. It was Channel 6. Walt Fowler said that Jason, I'm not going to say his last name yet, but Jason won the most unsportsmanlike player of the year because it was on TV and he did that. So anyway, so he was a big lacrosse guy too. So that's why we're talking. But his daughter, phenomenal athlete, field hockey and lacrosse. Went to play lacrosse up in New Paltz. She's now a coach of Rogers University up in Rhode Island. She coaches girls lacrosse, and that's why. And she was phenomenal. That's why she was. It's crazy. She's a great athlete. Too.
It's awesome to see. Honestly, I would say more so. It's happening in men's lacrosse too. Like college kids coming across and starting to get into coaching, which is just awesome. Mm-hmm. But I would say the flow started with the women's game. Like there were so many of those athletes that came out and started coaching and across the country too. And I think the women's game is so great. Just because of like Vanderbilt has a team, right? So there's so many more like USC out on the West Coast. There's so many different schools, and so I think it's just a great opportunity. And again, once you get past like high school is a little tougher because the whistle blows all the time, right? So and like it's just they don't have helmets on, so it's like you kind of got to blow the whistle a little bit. And so there's some nuance to the game I think early on when you're looking at it. But if you watch like a college lacrosse game, like they're cross checking, like it's crazy. They're swinging their stick, and it's like they're so good with it, like precision wise, is like they do hit each other on the head, but it's like rare, and it's in what they're doing with their stick, both defensively and offensively, is super impressive. And then those great athletes and great players are moving on to the college ranks. And like to your point, is like it's great for Rogers College. Like what a win, And so that's like it's a cool cool opportunity for.
Yeah,
for
I had to throw him out there too. And his daughter's great. And his other daughter, Kendall, goes up there. She's another field hockey player. They're just super athletes, just super athletes. But I had to toss that out there too. With girls lacrosse too, and
heck yeah,
and how talented they were, and just to watch that, the way this girl would stick handle, and I'm like, what is that? I mean, it was unreal.
Oh yeah,
the way he was flipping around the stick. I'm like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So
yeah, and they have and Mad Dog has a bunch of girls programs, and there's a couple programs here in Nashville that do a really great job. And so there's it's a great sport. I mean, again, kind of the same thing as you get the mix of like other sports involved. Mm-hmm. And I always joke is like, yeah, it's named the same but two completely different games, and not not as much because like obviously you can just like slash and body check and all that stuff, but like there's also this whole component of like the precision and like the hands that it takes and the hand-eye coordination and the skill, and so of the women's game, and so it's cool to see, and like I said, I think it's a great opportunity for young ladies to try.
Are you guys going to expand to other states, or is it just going to be regionalized?
So right now, like for me, right now is just I'll just be in Nashville.
Okay.
And again, they're across, they're across the Mad Dog is across the country.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about Mad Dog. They're across, but other states, like we saw that. But are they just going to stay in certain states and more regionalized instead of going every?
Well, they're the number one club, man. Everybody's saying they're number one, and the national team's doing pretty well.
They're doing a great job. The rankings are always. They're cool. I think the kids have fun with them and stuff, but they're
it's like my hockey rankings. They got lacrosse too.
It's like,
but what about the national team? Kind of break that down for folks how that works.
Yeah, so you see like on the website you saw the states. So you start, and that's like what we call regional. So you have like regionals. So we're Nashville. There's Illinois, and it depends on the market.
So a kid from Kentucky comes down to here or goes to.
They could. Okay. They could. Yeah. They'd have to come try out and all that good stuff. But yes, absolutely. We and. I believe in like they have to be a practice too.
Okay.
Right? So it's like we're not doing the fly in, we'll see you never, and so and so we're again I to build the game here is like it's important that we're practicing together, and the kids like, why are you paying us if you're not going to practice? Like it's like let's. So we try to manage that as best we can. So that's the regional level, if you will. And then the next level is they have like an elite brand, they call it. So it's broken into like multiple states.
Okay.
So when I call ours local because we're Nashville, but when you say it like they call it regional because like Illinois is all of Illinois, and then they'll pick different times where they'll same thing. You still got to go to practice. All that's the same. We're just more localized. So so this elite side, which is like tier 2, I guess, and then. That would be like it's a little bit more of an all-star team, and that's with multiple states involved. And then the next brand above that is national.
Okay.
And so that's when they have a couple national teams, and those are the ones. And it's kind of taking shape, I would say, in the tournament side of things too. Is like these are the national tournaments, and like I was talking about, like the calendar for families, like the tournaments are a little bit. They're all fighting just like anybody else. Like, but it's like. The national tournaments are kind of becoming the national tournaments. So those national teams will go to those tournaments.
And the coaches come to those.
The coaches
the D1 coaches.
In high school, yeah. Yep. So when you're recruitable, the coaches will be there. There's some cool events where like college coaches will coach guys, and those are like a little more of like showcases, but they'll just like actually coach them, which is
so
cool.
They have showcases.
They can't recruit them, but they're just like they'll coach them, and so depending on
and
those.
And you remember the name. That's another one. Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah. That's like put it in the back of the brain if that's anyone good. But so national will play national, and then elite kind of will scatter around that, so that way the families don't have to choose between like what tournament to go to, and the team, like you're either committing or you're not, because that way you're not picking different teams, and that was important for us too. Is like so that way regionally or locally for us, we want to practice, we want to make sure our guys are on the terms, we want to have a good culture. Like that's really where we get the most practice, the most touch points, the most relationships, and then we can. And then when they go to the next one, it's honestly like it's funny. It's like we was talking about, like bunch of practice, bunch of touch points, bunch of learning. The next one a little less, and then the next national is like a little less because you're going to play high level tournaments, get a little more game speed, things like that are important, which I support. It's just if you only do that, then you're not practicing at all, and you're not in a team environment, and it's kind of like.
Just playing games,
it's back to your numbers about college is like, there's a 1% of like kids that are going to go Division I, and like there's a lot of opportunity Division II and Division III, but it's like
there's not scholarship money there really. It's sort of a passion. Like I'm going to do D3 because I love the sport
or the school. Like how we break down. Like I want to talk to families is like we break down like. Okay, let's like, or where are you? It's geographically, academically, like school size, like because if you're from Nashville and you like have never been on Long Island before and Stony Brook's recruiting you,
Yep.
like, have you ever been there? Have you, like, do you know, like, what kind of what you're getting into?
Yeah.
And they may love it, and that's awesome. Yeah. But, like, you also may, like, hate it. Like,
eyes wide open, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We want to know what we're getting into.
That's right.
Sold a bill of goods.
Correct.
And it sounds like lacrosse is still a tight-knit community. It's small enough that you might not have the excesses that you might see in hockey or, baseball or some of the larger sports.
It's still I guess it's still fairly new to certain areas too. But it's growing. It's growing.
It's in its infancy still.
Yeah.
But it is growing and it's getting there.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's where I always say is like, are we a part of the problem? Are we navigating it the right way? Like, cause there are like, there's a lot of narratives around like specifically like the recruiting stuff, but then you talk about like with the youth kids, it's like this word exposure is thrown around so much in club lacrosse, and it's like exposure for club lacrosse is for youth, for young kids, 5th graders, 6th graders, like their exposure is like to go have fun and see if they're like they can compete with a team on Long Island or a team in Baltimore or something like that. That's in again, that is very valuable for sure for the growth of a lacrosse player. But if you just travel up to Long Island for 5 weekends out of the summer and that's all you do, it's like, what are you getting exposure to?
What is the goal?
Yeah, what is the goal? What are you doing? I know the beaches are nice up in Long Island.
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous.
Hey,
I'm
Sean
not
Henry.
hating on Long Island.
No, I am. That's why I'm not there anymore. No, Sean Henry said the CPIs was always a good one. And those in the Hamptons, you go out to the Hamptons.
Was it Long Beach?
Long Beach, another one. There you go, man.
Well, let's bring it home and we'll get on to our off my
little
lawn.
round.
But what do you want for Macklin? What do you want for your kid? He's 5.
Yeah.
He's just now maybe to get into sports. He's probably going to follow in your footsteps to a certain degree. He's interested in what you're interested in. Maybe he's totally different. Maybe
he's not
going to
be one
piano.
of those. He's not going to be one of those crazy parents, though. I can tell you that.
Well, so yeah, so how do you? And we are always giving those parents hell, right?
Yes,
I mean,
we
those
are.
people are crazy, but we know that this is a $40 billion industry, and it's a money-making machine, and we're still in it, and we love it. We're trying to navigate it, right?
We're just feeding the beast.
Yeah. So
Feeding the beast.
what you've been through the highest levels of it. You've been in the trenches with the business, and you have a great opportunity. You're doing something you believe in. What do you want for your son as a parent? Step back from a coach or a director or pro athlete. What are you hoping that he gets out of, whether it's lacrosse or whatever, whether it's soccer, whatever sport he's going to be into?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, like, I want him to feel at his age. I want him to feel no pressure, have fun, be outgoing, meet new people, not be step outside of your comfort zone. Obviously, work really hard. If you have a like an issue, you can work through it. Like I want there to be a team camaraderie. I want him to learn. I want him to but it all kind of circles back for me is like, if he's not having fun, then he's not going to work hard at it. So it's like, then that's okay. Like he's not, if it's lacrosse or whatever sport, then he's going to do something else. And he loves reading books, right? It's like that's great. Like
he might want to play chess.
He may want to play chess. And again, he picked up don't get me wrong, he picked up a stick in the backyard the other couple nights ago, actually, for because they're laying around. They're strategically placed around the tree.
In the crib next to the bed.
They're around. But he's walking by it, and
he's eating chopsticks with them.
Yeah, there's it's but he walks by, he picks it up, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play catch?" And I couldn't have went and got my stick and ball and whatever fast enough, you know. So it's also part of that too. Is I want him to remember those moments of just playing catch in the backyard and things like that. And then when you fast forward a little bit, it's like, okay, he likes it, he's having some fun with it. I want him to go to somewhere where those things are going to continue. And then I want them to be like also held to a standard. And so, and like, hey, if you're having a tough time with something, or like you're like something's not working, like I want them to be able to like work through that and be able to come home and practice, or come home and talk about it, or like learn right and wrong and like things that just happen. So I think there's a lot of like life lessons that we try to provide as mentors, as like coaches. And so I want him to have that. And so, aside from just, that's why I believe in like, not just dad being coach all the time, is like, I would love to be his coach, but I also think he needs to learn from, he's playing baseball right now, and Coach Al and Coach Courtney, they're the freaking best. And they're always looking at me, and I'm like, hey, you're the coach, like whatever you need from me. And I'm like, looking at him like, go listen to Coach. And he loves it. He has fun. He met new kids, and he's like listening to the coaches. And so that's where I just think, how can we provide a joy of them playing lacrosse? And that's really, really important to me, even as a dad. It's like, just, if you're going to play sports, I want you to be in the right spot, and like tough times are going to come, and I want you to be able to overcome them. And that's where I think the biggest thing in sports are. And honestly, when you get to competitive sports, is like, hey, tough times are coming.
You're going to lose.
You're going to lose, but you're going to get cut from a team. You're going to get less playing time than your friends. You're going to like not catch the ball on the game-winning shot, and like, or miss the shot, or let in a goal, or whatever it is. Something's going to happen within sports. And I believe finding those things out on a sports field is so
life lessons.
It's so important. Yeah. And just to be able to like talk through that and overcome it, and like work hard at it and not quit, is like,
the resilience,
is like the resilience of it. Yep. And keep coming back. Like, we sat out there and he didn't catch a ball for 20 minutes, but I was proud of him because he kept wanting to try to catch one. And then he catches one and his eyes light up, right? And it's like,
well, I'm gonna tell you,
that's it. That keeps me going.
What
it's
you
just
just
like golf.
said. Golf.
One bird.
Yeah, I get the one shot. But you said the best thing was like, I couldn't run out and get the stick soon enough. Like my kid, let's have a catch, Dad. Yes. But what happens is later on when they get a little bit bigger and stronger, and you're like, let's have a catch, and you're like, ow, I can't see anymore. My eyes are blinded, and he's bringing it. You're like, hey, I'm going to do a bullpen session. You going to catch me? I'm like, okay, let me wear the gear on without the gear up. Yeah, but it is, again, we're on borrowed time. Really, it goes by so fast. Take that in, and for everyone out there that ever listens and has this situation, have that catch. Have the catch with your kid, because there's going to be a time that he's not going to want. It's almost cats in the cradle, man.
That's
cats in the cradle, guys. I've always said it all the time. I may get a little emotional here because it is such a real thing. Cats in the cradle. When your kid wants to play, you play, because he's not going to do it all the time in his life. So just, I commend you on that, and that's the best thing in the world right there. My last question to you for the evening here, and where would you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years right now? Where do you want to be in 5 years with this whole program and everything going on? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think I want it to change too much of like my position and what we're doing. I still want to be in lacrosse. I still want to be in Nashville. I still want to continue to elevate our program, elevate the kids' lives, and be just a great mentor. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Like, here in Nashville is important. I think there's going to be a component where I look at trying to continue to grow their game nationally as well. How that fits into the Nashville schedule, I think, is really important to me. Okay. And so, and then the biggest thing for the growth of it is to look back and see some of these kids, and in 5 years, the kids we have right now will be making college decisions or deciding to go to Tennessee. And I'm like really excited about that. And so that's where, believe it or not, when we started the program, we have they're freshmen right now, of like the guys that like we have some other guys going to college that have been with us for a long time, and I love supporting them. And it's just like, but I caught them a little later. Right. And so we're seeing this influx, and I've just like, I'm excited to continue to see that and continue to see the growth of, human beings on and off the field. And so it doesn't matter about college lacrosse. That's great. But like these kids like doing stuff and like winning a state championship in high school and being super pumped about it, or losing in the state championship and me be able to put my arm around them when I see them. Man. Like it's like that type of stuff. I love it. I want to be in it. I'm not, that's why we didn't sell to private equity. Yeah. Like I want to be in it for a long time.
Awesome.
And really excited about continue to see the game grow.
I love it, Joel. Thank you, man.
I think he gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
He gets it.
He gets it. Woo! More claps.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me.
More claps.
This was a blast. Thanks for having me.
Now we're on our new segment right now.
Let's do it.
We do a get off. First of all, here we go. Is the beer league? It's our get off my lawn segment right here. So this get off my lawn. If you haven't heard this, too much of it, it's a thing of what we do is we give you a couple questions. And one of them you're like, yeah, I want to have a beer with, or have a coffee, or have a salsa. I don't know, whatever you're into. Whatever. Salsa's good too, right? You know, those high noons or something. I don't know. And the other one, you get the hell off my lawn. You don't want to do it. See, that's what I was saying. That's what you asked me earlier. What is that segment? It's the guy you want to hang out with, or the thing you want to hang out with. And the other one, you want to get the hell off. So we usually ask a couple questions. So my first question is, okay, which one would you want off your lawn? Get off my lawn. We would want Long Island Lacrosse, not because I'm here, or Maryland Lacrosse. I just want to throw out to you, it's some of that I'm not going to feed the answer here. I'm not going to persuade the guest here, but Long Island Lacrosse has like Chaminade, St. Anthony's, Garden City, and Ward Melville. I'm just throwing those out there. Just some kind of names out there. Some really juggernauts in lacrosse, you know. So which one would you want to hang out with, and which one do you want off your lawn? Go ahead, do whatever you want.
I'm gonna have to go. While I would say Maryland guys I've become fond of. I would have to get Maryland off my lawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were wrong, Sam.
Yes. Why is that? Why?
You know, I think it does go back. Two of the guys that I mentioned is in college was Patty Parrott. Is like he's one guy, and Danny Brennan. Like I still find myself like going back to some of the stuff they did when I was
just
in
start
college.
laughing. You're like,
And
geez,
just
how did we not get arrested?
I mean, like, yeah, there's just, it's just their characters. And again, and I, just the way Syracuse and like Maryland was at the time when I went to school, we didn't really have that many Maryland guys on the team, in and around the team. We had a couple when I was a senior, we had a couple guys coming in, but it was just really like upstate Long Island. And then we had some guys like from, a couple Maryland guys, but like our personality like was definitely they used to do like a upstate downstate scrimmage, and so it was like a lot because we had a lot of upstate guys, and then we had like Westchester, Long Island, those guys, and so they played an upstate downstate for like in the fall. We always used to do it every Saturday for Who Buys the Beer.
Yeah, go boy. All right, so
legal.
Legally. Here we go. All right, the next one. Now, this may surprise some of you people out there in podcast land. So, to me, I already got this. So, you got which one you want off your lawn or you want to hang out with? Gary Gate, not Paul Gate, but Gary Gate, or Jim Brown?
Oh, man.
See, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Jim Brown was probably one of the best lacrosse players ever out there. Yes, the Browns running back from Syracuse. He was the best. See, this is exactly why. See,
this is a tough one because
I'm not going to give you easy ones. I'll tell you that right now.
Fortunately for me, when I was at Syracuse, Jim Brown was around, so he was kicking around the university. He came to some games. He talked to the team.
Wow.
I was fortunate to be able to like interact with him, and he, from his mouth, lacrosse was his favorite sport.
Yeah.
And so, and he believed that, in college lacrosse kind of kept him going. And there's a Syracuse coach, Simmons, who brought him in, and he's a legendary coach. And the Simmons family is a legendary family in the Syracuse history.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a really like philosophical, like, what's that word? Philosophy. He's like,
philosophical.
There it is.
Philosophical.
Yeah, we said he's here.
Yeah, jeez. Went to Syracuse. What do you want from me? So he's just a look at the clouds like guy, and but took a real liking Jim Brown did to him, and then he stuck around. So just based off of being he was the first one to kind of and. They're both. This is the thing. Is Gary's like both retired jerseys in the dome.
I know.
Like Gary's current head coach of Syracuse, and but I'll go Jim Brown.
All
But
right.
I've gotten to hang out with Gary, and he's a blast. So,
Yeah.
but I'll go Jim Brown.
No, I remember like back when I first, Gary and Paul Gate. I'm like, look at these guys. This is insane. That was, I mean, honestly, they were the first ones that I've ever watched. With they were like the Wayne Gretzky of how it happened.
Yeah, there was. I look at there's like a handful of guys like within these kind of time periods, and they were certainly two of those. There was others in that realm, and then you have the Pauls and stuff that kind of redid it, and so it's with others obviously as well. But it was unbelievable. Like the highlights and stuff of that is insane.
So I'm glad. I'm glad that not a lot of people knew Jim Brown was a lacrosse player.
That's a good one. That's a good pull.
All right, now this is a three questions on here. One can stay. The rest, the two go off your lawn. Johns Hopkins, Cornell, or Hobart?
Oh, man.
Again, everyone out there, Hobart is a lacrosse school.
Yeah. I mean, we had good battles with them. There was a trophy between Syracuse and Hobart, that the Cross Simmons Trophy that we would always battle for. But I think probably Cornell for me.
It's a rival.
It was a good rival, but we rivaled early with Hopkins, but Cornell was kind of consistently from that 2009 championship that it was a big rivalry for us. But also it's just like close. We usually played on like a Tuesday night. Like it was a cool game for us.
Nice. All right. So Cornell, you get the hell off this lawn here. So, all right. Well, I know we got more camera work here. We got camera work all over the place. It's dying. No one wants to see my face anyway. I'm a handsome guy. I don't think I'm that handsome. Well, all right. Well, thank you. But so that's my get off my lawn rant. And so, but I have something coming up here. I believe here it comes. Do you got it?
Wait, where can people find you at though?
That's usually after. We do that after, don't we? After my rant. Are you
ready?
I'm ready because this has got something to do with lacrosse here. I got to tell you. You got to hear it. Hang on, here it goes. Because I have a little rant. I brought it up a little bit earlier. It's a hot button, and we see the back there on the screen. I see it. My rant. You're gonna make the music too loud for me and scream. You do it. You did. What are you doing to me? I'm not gonna have a rant today. Oh, all right. I got a rant here. There we go. Here's my rant. You gotta lower it a little bit though. My rant today. We started a little bit earlier. Is these stupid box lacrosse goalies. What the heck? They look like the damn Pillsbury Doughboy and the Michelin Man. Anybody could be in goal for these guys. They just, really, they just walk around. They're like, you guys get like you can't even move. Like it's like what's that goal? Duncan from the commercial with the walrus in the goal. And Duncan, it's exactly what it is. I saved Duncan. The ball just hits him for God's sakes. You know what? That's crap. I'm sorry. Someone's got to change the rules because back out the outdoors, they got shorts on and they're taking rockets off the shins. You're like, geez, that hurts. But no, this big slop. It looks like a big slop, but he's just pillows on top of pillows, and he can't even throw the ball. He's like this. He can't. He's just ball.
He can't bend over.
No, I mean, geez, I could sit there. I mean, you just wrap a couch around him and he just stays there. Really, you say make a move, he don't even have to move. He goes, here's a step. That's a step for the guy. He don't have to go. I don't know. Whoever came up with box lacrosse goaltending, we got to talk about that. I got to be honest. I am really pissed about that because I think they find the fattest guy, they wrap him up in bubble wrap, and there you go. Put him back in net. I don't know. That's my rant. I don't know. And also, I want to throw another rant here. You people all looking at me right now. You're going, what the hell is he wearing? Mr. Poles, Josh, I got it for you. I put it on. I know you wanted to see it on me. I can't stand the guy, but I felt like I lost a bet wearing this damn jersey. Can't stand Patrick Mahomes. He's terrible. That's another one of my rants, but I'm going to do it for you, Josh. I'm going to miss you this year. You can be hanging out in the stands, but hey, good luck. Can't wait to see Easton out there, but this is for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Peace.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I know. It is bad. I'm wearing this
Pretty
junk.
bad. I know. Yeah.
I'm wearing this
I
junk.
thought you lost a bet because you really gave him a hard time because he was knocking people out of bounds, right? That's what really set you up.
No, he was
about
trying to
Patrick
gut out of
Mahomes.
bounds, and
He
they're
was
like easing
pretending
up.
like-
And all of a sudden he cut back up or he runs somebody over. Look, look how great Patrick Mahomes is. You know, he sucks.
He seems. I'm not saying he's washed, but well, with Walker, we'll see what he does. Right? They could have a resurgence. I'm not counting that
Of
out.
course they're going to have a resurgence. Of course they are. Because it's like, hey, what were the ratings on the Super Bowl this year? Boring. So no one watched that junk. Because they got Patrick Mahomes and you have Taylor Swift. That's what they're going to have. No one cares about, what's his name? Exactly. I don't even know. Vrabel. Now they had to make something up with Vrabel with this whole mess.
No, let's not get into Vrabel.
Yeah, I
right
like
now.
Vrabel. So he didn't mean it. So what? You know, anyway.
PR disaster. He needs to call Black Bears
I think-
PR people and
Exactly.
try and fix that.
Hey, Sam, can you do me a huge favor? Can you grab that bag right over there? Yeah. Thanks, buddy. All right, well, I want to say thank you again for everything, for coming on the show here, Joe. This is awesome, and we have a parting gift for you here, too. This is for you. You got a hat, you got a T-shirt, you got a sticker. You got a sticker to put on your car. You got to put it on your car, man. You got to put it on your car. So,
Yeah.
so there you go. I'm gonna change my hat out too. So here we go. Here we go. Put this off, and we're gonna wear some Nashville Dogs merch. Here we go. Nashville Dogs. We're gonna be like dogs the next show. We're gonna wear dogs. Here we go.
It's legit.
Legit,
Looks good, man.
Hey, I'm in. Look, it feels comfortable. I like that hat. It's a comfy
It's a hat switch.
It is a
It's a
hat
hat
switch.
swap.
Here we go.
We're good.
Well, again, I want to say thank you very much for everything.
What's that? Let's go.
Exactly. So,
job.
hey, where can we find your stuff and too? Like, because we're going to start talking about this, and we'll post it on our website here too at beerleague.com. So here you go. What is the stuff there?
Yeah, that's Instagram is pretty much all I roll with. It's just jwhite_11. Yeah, this is my. I posted a good amount about my crew, but yeah, so it's a good place to find me. And then I have my email address and stuff is all on our website. So if
Reach
there's
out
anything
to.
I can do,
Okay.
feel free to reach out.
So if you're a person that's interested into joining the program, we go ahead and reach out to you, or should we reach out to the what's it called, I'm blind again. Your website for your lacrosse.
Yeah, the
there?
website the website will be there. But yeah, my email address.
Better
I
to
believe,
get
is still
hold
on
of
the
you.
website. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
and they're great. It'll get to me. It's usually better when it gets to them to me.
I may get my name in there because
Yeah.
Kelberg's throwing my name out
That's
all
right.
the time. So
Let's get it in
yeah,
there.
he's
I
playing.
know.
He's a catcher. I know you talked about he
yeah.
said catches and goalies, so maybe I could put him in damn bubble wrap now, right?
That's what I mean. Before you know it, he's going to be playing field and box goalie.
He's like,
and-
Dad, I'm going to borrow the couch cushions.
Yeah, let's get him in. Let's get him involved.
All right, now if you want to get some of your own Beer League merch, you got to go to www.beerleaguelive.com. All right, we got the hoodies, we got the T-shirts, we got the
Yeah, you got some
the
koozies in there
right?
too. You got some koozies in there.
Limited edition
Limited
hat,
edition
yeah.
hats, limited editions.
And then the thing I'm excited about is the Youth Sports Hub here, and this is a way to kind of break down different sports, and we're going to add to it, but we want to make sure we don't just grow to grow. We want to expand, and we want to make sure everything's accurate. So, we had Joel kind of look into some of this. I think we might need to add a few, but this is a way to kind of compare the different clubs and see what the costs are and what the travel is.
What
and,
tryouts, when to travel.
and yeah, so here's the cool thing. You go down to calendar, and it's going to tell you what's coming up. We got the spring season ends. We got OT Carolina show, right? That's a big deal, I think. I don't know what it means. And then summer's getting started here. And so you can go to beerleaguelive.com and figure out all the updated calendar events. And make sure you don't miss registration when
That's
that
key.
comes out.
That's key.
November is when you want to start doing that for 2027. So go to www.beerleaguelive.com and make sure that you like and subscribe, everybody. We need you to drop some comments here if you got questions, if you got,
Yeah, anything.
You wanna
Any
zing
emails,
Seth?
you
You
yell
wanna-
at me, making fun of me,
Yeah,
maybe
you
because
can
you
make
played
fun of either
lacrosse
of us.
goalie and you really like getting hit with that, but I get it.
I
get it.
agree, though, man. Those guys are Pillsbury as
Yeah,
hell, man.
exactly. They are. See?
It's so unathletic.
You know what the funny thing is? Because I did put that on my board, and I'm like, when am I going to get to this? And all of a sudden, we found out. I'm like, yes, this is my perfect rant. So I have a couple.
So
of boards.
here's a good one about that is, yes, there's some of the big guys get in the net. One of the best goalies in the NLL is the most shredded guy in the NLL.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he dressed like that though?
Yeah, he's dressed like
well,
that, so you
'cause-
can't tell.
Got to pump him
He's
up.
got to pump him up. He's got to put
Here
that
to
suit.
pump you
You know
up.
what? He's like one of those sumo suits. You know those sumo suits.
I
where
mean,
they bounce?
listen, I totally agree. And when you see him trip and fall, it's all
They
it's,
can't
it's
get up.
funny.
They just
It's
roll like
funny.
a turtle.
It's funny.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
get up.
Well, the best part is when you like in hockey when you pull your goalie. That happens in lacrosse too.
Oh, they do?
So they gotta sprint back.
Oh, that's hysterical. They're
Sometimes
waddling.
you always can tell, like, is the starter the one that's doing the sprinting, or do they have the backup? So you don't get the starter tired. It's pretty funny.
That's hysterical. I love it. I love it. Well, Joel, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything. Outstanding interview, and I want to say thank you. And keep doing what you're doing here in Nashville and in lacrosse in general. Keep selling it. Keep pushing it. Keep getting it out there. We can help you with this too, getting everyone out here and to talk about it. Again, man, I know a lot of the hockey community is pushing it and going to it too on the off season. Keep the kids working out, keep them strong. And again, we have a lot of hockey people on this that listen to the show. And hey, maybe next year you're going to get an influx of it because
That's right.
Because
seamless
he's great.
seamless transition.
Exactly.
We'll coach them up. But no, seriously, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast, and I really appreciate it. And honestly, like all the stuff you guys are doing, just with the website and just this podcast, having me on, I'm really appreciative of it, just of the sport, So it's really, really cool to see, and I love what you guys are doing as well. So anything I can do to support, let me know.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, again, youth sports out there, beer league, and again, it's not because beer, because everyone ends up in beer league one way or another.
That's right.
So
Thanks for clarifying.
thank you, bro. I got to keep clarifying that one there. So again, follow us on Spotify at Beer League, and follow us on TikTok at Beer League Live, and follow us on Instagram at Beer League Live, and our website, beerleaguelive.com. All right, let's get some of those orders in, and can't wait for next week to the Wish Cup, right? Get the Wish Cup. That's
Yeah,
it.
come on out to the Wish Cup, baby.
All
Let's
right.
go.
All right, Beer League. Peace.